Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated
Hello?
kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not
You will
relevant.
bring the jury.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy
They
there.
got the wrong guy. The dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case. Dati mihi Anglican po, he's verbal sloppy.
That's literally not true.
I didn't ask you to interrupt
when
me.
we started 110 years ago.
Good morning, welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and you can't see me. There we go. We're back. All right.
I'm trying to have force.
We are here. I'm sorry we had to do some shuffling today to get things where it needed to be. We're bailing on the Texas court. I'm sorry, Judge Stevens. It's just we're gonna go. Turn this off. Hang on. Let's see where this is at. That's not it. Back. Turn. Come on, why is this not working the way it's supposed to? Hold please. Hang on. I'll be there shortly. Trying to capture that properly. Turn that off. Everything go. Yes, now it's working. There we go. All right, good morning. I saw Judge Stevens crying when he heard the news. It's terrible, I know. I hate to break his heart, but, it is what it is. Basically, his courtroom just doesn't show us what we need to see, and it's going a little bit too slowly. Plus, we've got so many other cases, that we need to wander around and follow, and this time we're picking one up out of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, which has just begun this morning. We're going to be playing catch-up here in just a minute.
It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me.
It's quite big.
It's bigger than all.
It's massive. It's bigger than all of us. It actually is. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Yes, that's where we're going. I just broke the seal on this one, so I think I'm good.
Remember in the beginning when we started 110 years ago?
That is delicious. Also not a sponsor. Thank you, Deer Park, for ignoring yet again another email from me asking to rep your product on my channel. All right, good morning. How's everyone doing? Happy day. We're here in person live, a little bit late, but that's my fault. Don't hold that against the court.
Someone with more experience.
You've been warned, right? You've been warned. Here we go.
Mike. What day is it, Mike? Guess what today is?
In front of the Walmart.
It's hump day.
Hump day! Welcome to Wednesday. It's Wednesday. We're halfway through the work week. I'm sorry if you're here for the first time and you're just unsubscribing. It only happens once a week, I promise. Once a week, and then we stop. It is hump day. No kids here to give me the 2 thumbs up, so I'm going to count on you guys to do that. Let's see, I sent a photo of my burner phone to burner phone of my husband's first project on his 3D printer, and it's the same one you have. Awesome. I will take a look at that. And I'm still alive, and kicking, I might add. Mrs. R.A. texted me, and she texted me, "Are you alive?" And I think she meant to say, "Are you live?" But Siri, voice to chat, said, "Are you alive?" I'm like, "I am," but now I'm worried about you. Are you alive? So that happened this morning. She's got the kids in Raleigh. I think they're going to try to do some tree runner stuff, which is really cool. Oh, a koi! Look at this. It's a koi fish. It's a koi fish.
Happy birthday. You look good.
That would have taken a long time. That's a lot of changes. That's a lot of hours. Or maybe he snapped it together. I'm not sure. Well, it depends how it was built. But that's an amazing, that's great. I haven't tried anything that ambitious. All right, good morning. Good morning. Recovery Addict, please say hello to my sister Pamela and Gina, who have just signed up watching your stream. Pamela and Gina, are you also from Perth, Australia? Welcome. Great to have people watching from the other side of the world. Basically ahead in time. You're ahead of us. So if something bad happens, please give us warning so we have time to prepare. I realize you're taking one for the team on that front, but you do live at the beginning of time. All right, good morning. Good morning. What a load of carp, says Jerry. I thought you said Cory fish. That's different. What's tree runner stuff? Tree runner is basically a jungle gym 60 feet up in the air. Yeah, it's not for me, mostly because they have size and weight limits.
I saw a chicken fight.
You can rewind. I give you power to rewind today only. All right. Let's see. Buffer, happy birthday to Chester, Jen's dad, Daisy's dad, Danine, Ellen, Jess, Catlisi, Maggie, and Stephanie. All names I can pronounce. In that case, let's go ahead and celebrate their birthdays, and we'll get to watching court, which has already begun. So we're going to play a tiny bit of catch-up. But the good news is we don't have to wait. So, it's a trade-off. All right, so everyone where we are, if it's legal and you're able, stand up, take a breath, shoulders back, project your voice to the back of the room, blend your voice with the neighbor, and warm up with me if you will. La 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 la. There we go. Everybody now. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Chester, Daisy's dad, Deneen, Ellen, Jess, Catalisi, Maggie, and Stephanie. Happy birthday to you. Oh, I got a little bit behind you. We fit them all in. Chester, who is Jen's dad, Daisy's dad, who doesn't have a name, apparently. Deneen, Ellen, Jess, Catalisi, Maggie, and Stephanie. Happy birthday. There are many wonderful days, but today is your birthday. And I realize there are a million places you could be and a million people you could have been with, but you chose to be here. Celebrate with us. The privilege, pleasure, the honor, the joy is ours. Hopefully we can turn that joy back to you, make your day just a little more special. Begin by helping yourself to free pancakes at Denny's, IHOP Village, and Waffle House, McDonald's, Tammy Dunlap's house, Andy's Grill, and Bob Evans. Sorry, I got a little sloppy on Tammy's name. Shouldn't do that because her pancakes are the best of the whole list. You'd have to go to Germany there to pick those up, though. German pancakes, different. But there you go. Happy birthday to all those who are celebrating. Have a wonderful day. And it's a hump day birthday as well. So you get the hump day yell and the birthday present, which I guess they offset each other. Great news in my personal life here. Let me just share with you from the nerd world that I live in. I set up all sorts of gear on Mrs. R.A.'s kitchen counter last night, and it worked first try, which is very important because it all has to work on Saturday and Sunday this weekend because I've got a gig where it's all going to be needed. But then, I had a quick call with the powers that be, the people that hire me, and they just sprung a few things on me saying, oh, by the way, can you also run timers for all the entire event to keep us all on schedule? We want a screen with a countdown timer and everything. I'm like, never done that before? Sure. Guess what? It's done. It's set up. I've got the entire schedule and it's ready. I can control it remotely. It's going to be great. Shout out to stagetimer.io. Great app. I'm only $28 per month. All right. Air drum sticks at the ready. Here we go. Red Pen, I happen to know, you sent me a picture the other day. I think you actually play the drums. I know technically it's like your husband, but I'm betting that when he's gone, you sneak down there and hit a few paradiddles and or paradiddles. I forget what they're called. Just do a little roll on the snare. Just to stay in. Yeah, nailed it. I knew it. Yes, you have a humongous drum kit. It looks amazing. And some keyboards, too. I'm going to have 2 keyboards now. Starting tomorrow, the other keyboard shows up. I should count all the things on it. Count the number of things with a head, like a drum head. And then count the number of cymbals and give me the total. So there might be 1 or 2 basses on the ground, a few toms, The hi-hats are going to be counted as cymbals, even though they have a foot pedal. Did he touch my drum set? Don't touch my drum set. Let's see. It has all the things. It's impressive. And then the Pink Floyd poster on the wall with the are those PV speakers? I don't know. They look like some big. I imagine those speakers can be loud enough that the neighbors can hear them. Does the drum kit turn upside down too? I don't think it does. Selena K says, "All right, I think I should get a medal or a trophy from a printer for being first in line at KR and the only public in the courtroom for closings." Yes, let's do that. Let's print you something 3D on my printer, and I'll mail it out to you. Here's my dilemma. I need somebody to design it and send me the STL or whatever the file is. Greeners, where you at? Greeners. It's a massive. I will tell you, Red Pen, I think the drum kit is capable of traveling because I noticed he had taped off the floor where he likes his stuff for when he takes it down, moves it, plays it, brings it back, and sets it up again. So it does have the ability to move. Any idea what we're going to count this trial? Well, we're going to call it the poisoned Powerade, or the Poisonade. Excuse me, can't say poisoned Powerade because Powerade would probably sue us, but they'll say it in court. We won't. The Poisonade trial. This is a case with a woman who's accused of killing her live-in boyfriend by administering antifreeze in his beverages. He loved Powerades, and he got sick when he was with her, and he felt better when he was away, and eventually he did die, and it was horrible, and it was in the hospital, and it took an autopsy, and you found all the signs of antifreeze poisoning. There is a allegation of an affair on his part that will be brought in at some point, but the defendant is a retired grade school teacher, so we could also call this the elementary murder trial. There's lots of name opportunities, and obviously we're going to work on a thumbnail as well to get it underway. But let's see, anything else we need to get to, and we'll jump to court. Sherry Smith, member for 30 months. Greatest place to spend my day. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you. Yay, Carmen Sassy. Glad you're covering this trial. Yeah, there are some good ones out there. And there are also some good ones that just have bad audio and bad cameras. And I'm looking at you, Georgia. I'm sorry. The dentist one, that would have been great. But the camera is like 70 degrees instead of 90 degrees. It just leans. It leans. And it's just you're just a fly on the wall looking down on the entire courtroom except for the jury box the entire time. And I just could not bring myself to do that after being spoiled with the Corey Richards trial and then torturing myself with the judge down in Texas for a day. All right. Yes, Red Pen reminds me that we have to give away the internet. Francis Fitzgerald, congratulations. You were first in chat because of your promptness, because of your punctuality, and lack of punctuation as well. We're going to go ahead and send it to you to internet ownership. Everything IP related worldwide is your responsibility. So that's a burden off our shoulders and onto yours. Congratulations. But we know you've won before. You are, in fact, a repeat offender, a habitual offender when it comes to this. So we know the internet is in good hands. All right. Anything else we need to do before we get going? Are we able to watch the Afro Man? Here's the problem. Let's see. No on content. No, because of the copyright strike issue. It basically, I could probably do it if I worked for free. Basically turned off all monetization because it would all get taken immediately anyway. And there's a possibility, that's just the copyright claim, there's a possibility they might strike the channel. And if there are multiple things that they can strike for, then it's like lights out, game over. YouTube says it was fun playing, find another website to stream on. I can't risk that. And I realize a lot of people are showing it and it's working. The content is bad. I mean, these are like nasty bad. It's just not. It's not me. Okay, so we're not going to go that one. I realize it is a circus and a half. I mean, it would go so far as to say it is mocking the justice system, and he's using the justice system to sell records, and it's probably going to work, and he's probably going to win. Honestly, he's probably going to win on a First Amendment issue, but yeah, it's let's put it this way. Some of his songs can't be played on the radio without editing because they're just bad. You can't say those words. The FCC would fine you, and I don't want to go there. It's sort of funny. It's sort of funny just because you've got a situation where a guy, obviously, I think he might be suspected of liking the weed a little bit, and the police raid his house, and he turns that raid into inspiration for his music. I've used the term music loosely, and he makes up songs mocking everybody in the raid, all the police officers. Like one of the officers he calls Pound Cake because the officer is a little bit heavy set. He's going through with his gun drawn. He's in the kitchen and he sees like a lemon pound cake sitting on the counter, and he's like doing this double take, like, should I put the gun away and eat the cake? And so he sings a song about Officer Pound Cake, and this officer is also suing because he's been receiving hundreds of pound cakes at work. That part's funny, but yeah, we're gonna skip that one if that's all right. Do the catch up on there. It's too much for me. Let's see. All right. My name is Uncivil Law, the proud owner of the Uncivil Poison Shop. We have hemlock, belladonna, and more. Hop down today, take advantage of our frequent customer specials today. Awesome. Do you have any poison power beverage? I don't think I can say Powerade and poison in the same sentence, but without consulting my lawyer. Anyway, we're going to go to court. We're going to pick up during jury instructions where the judge tells us which happened just this morning, just started a little bit ago, tells us what the charges are against the defendant. This is the case, if I can see where I'm at. Let's see. Massachusetts v. I can't even remember her name right now. We'll get there, and we're going to be caught up in no time. Sloth Life says, no to Afroman. The first witness, we've already had PDF files, body parts, people's wives, and little boys. Yeah, it's all the things we don't do. But did I freeze? No, I'm still here. Here we go. Let's get some audio from 7.
The Commonwealth in this
video
case
from 7.
has brought a single charge or indictment against the defendant, Ms. Church, charging her with the crime of murder in the first degree. Under our law, there are 2 different degrees of murder: murder in the first degree and murder in the second degree. If you find the defendant guilty of murder, you shall decide the degree of murder. The Commonwealth alleges that the Commonwealth committed murder in the first degree on 2 separate theories: that the murder was committed with deliberate premeditation, and that it was committed with extreme atrocity or cruelty. To find the defendant guilty on either of these theories of murder, you must be unanimous, as I've explained. What that means with these 2 theories is that all the deliberating jurors must agree that the Commonwealth has met its burden of proving every required element of a particular theory beyond a reasonable doubt. If you are unable to agree unanimously that the Commonwealth has met its burden to prove beyond a reasonable doubt either of these theories of first-degree murder, you shall consider whether the Commonwealth has proved the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of murder in the second degree. I will begin by instructing you on the elements of each of these 2 theories of murder in the first degree, and I will then instruct you on murder in the second degree. I came down with a pretty bad cough between yesterday and today. It's making this a little challenging. I apologize.
It's making it very challenging, Judge. If you could not do that again.
So I will first define the elements of murder in the first degree with deliberate premeditation.
I'm working on the
audio. To prove the defendant, Ms. Church, guilty of murder in the first degree with deliberate premeditation, the Commonwealth must prove each of the following beyond a reasonable doubt. First, that the defendant, Judy Church, caused the death of the victim, Leroy Fowler. Second, that Ms. Church intended to kill Mr. Fowler. That is, Ms. Church consciously and purposely intended to cause Mr. Fowler's death.
So Judy
and third,
Church.
That Ms. Church committed the killing with deliberate premeditation. That is, she decided to kill after a period of reflection. I will now discuss each of these requirements.
Okay, he needs to stop coughing, and we're going to skip ahead. So Judy Church is charged with killing Mr. Fowler. We're trying to get caught up. Give me just a minute to get us up there to opening statements, because the judge does talk for a fair amount of time. Just giving the standard instructions, I'll tell you the jury is allowed They are allowed to take notes, which is great. And let's.
Jurors, I'm going to have you stand up right now. He's going to supervise you before you get up.
Okay. Jury instructions are over.
Move around a little bit, shake out the cobwebs. As you're standing, I will remind you that the opening statements you are about to hear are not evidence. Once again, this is a preview of the evidence that the attorneys expect to be presented, a roadmap of sorts that gives you a sense of.
He walked away from his mic.
Because it is the Commonwealth that bears the burden of proving the charge of murder in the first degree that is brought against the defendant, Judy Church. The Commonwealth goes first at the opening statements phase of the proceedings. So the first hear from Mr. Committee on behalf of the Commonwealth, followed by defense counsel. In this case, we'll hear from Mr. Liam Scully in the opening statements.
He's giving them the rundown. Commonwealth goes first.
We reverse the order.
Then defense.
At that point, defense counsel will go first, followed by the Commonwealth, because, again, the Commonwealth bears the burden of proof, so we give the prosecutors the last word.
Yes, please.
So if everyone is ready, please take a seat.
The curtain is sealed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Here we go.
I hate being alone. I hate you for all the lies. You don't love me. This is not love. Those were the words that Judy Church wrote in her notebooks that the police found while investigating the murder of Leroy Fowler. Leroy Fowler was Miss Church's boyfriend. They had been in a relationship for about 10 years. And some parts of the relationship were pretty good. They lived together at her house in Salisbury. They had purchased a home in Florida. They had some dogs that the defendant and the victim both really loved. Is it a notebook?
Yeah. Sorry.
What? After? You get notebooks after jury instructions.
Oh, you've got the notebooks now. I usually have them distributed after the openings, but that's fine. If you choose to take, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Committee. I didn't know they were going to have notebooks. If you choose to take notes, just bear in mind that your notes don't reflect evidence. Mr. Committee, please continue.
As I said, some parts of that relationship looked pretty good. But that relationship was not a good relationship. It was a toxic, horrible, horrible relationship. The primary reason why that relationship was so bad was that Mr. Fowler had another girlfriend.
Ooh.
Everybody knew that he had two girlfriends. Everybody accepted it, but I think it's fair to say neither of those two women were happy about it. Miss Church was not happy about it at all. You'll get the chance to read many of the entries that she put in her notebook describing the way she thought about this relationship. And this one that I just read to you, I hate being alone, I hate you for all the lies, is just a representation of these many, many diary entries and notebook entries that she put in both her written notebooks and in the notes section of her iPhone. She cataloged the things that he did to her that made her feel unvalued, unloved, unwanted. And it's easy to understand, in part, where Ms. Church was coming from. Nobody wants to feel like they are not a primary person in their loved one's life. Nobody wants to know that when things get bad in your relationship, your partner leaves and goes to his other girlfriend. But that's what was going on, and that's what has been going on for years in this particular relationship. And that's what brought us here today. That's what caused the death of Mr. Fowler.
Judge gets a cough drop delivery.
On November 11th, 2022, it's actually Mr. Fowler's birthday. And that morning, the defendant, Ms. Church, called the police because Mr. Fowler was sick. He was in bad, bad shape. He was stumbling around the apartment. He couldn't stand up. He couldn't get his feet. He really couldn't talk or form any words. Every time he tried to pull himself up and get off the ground, he would fall back down. So after this went on for a couple of hours, Miss Church called. Police called the ambulance, and they came, and they see the same things. They see the same things that are wrong with Mr. Fowler. She calls 911, and she says, my boyfriend must have ingested something. The first sign that you're going to hear that something was just a little bit off about this whole thing. Now, how does she know that he ingested something? He had all sorts of health problems. He had a pacemaker. He was complaining about illnesses leading up to this. But she immediately tells the police, immediately tells the EMTs that he must have ingested something. He's mostly not able to talk while they're there. They can't get him to stand up. They're holding him up to keep him from falling to the floor. Since he's sitting on the floor, they have to hold him up. At some point, he asks about his dog, and at some point, he may have said something about some Percocets that he took. Now, he was no saint. He already said that he had another girlfriend. He used cocaine from time to time. But there's not going to be any evidence at all that Mr. Fowler wanted to harm himself, that he was in any way thinking of ending his life, that he had any thoughts of suicide. In fact, in the months leading up to his death, he was concerned about his health. He was trying to figure out what was wrong with him, and he thought maybe he had some sort of prostate cancer. So the EMTs are there. They're looking at him, and they don't know what's wrong with him. He can't talk to them. He can't tell them what's going on. He can't stand up. He's got no control over his limbs. He's combative. And they just don't know. They don't know what's wrong with him. So off he goes to Anna Jake's hospital, and they start running tests. They start taking blood. And honestly, at the beginning, they don't know what's wrong with him either. As it goes on, they start to think, he's been poisoned with antifreeze. He has antifreeze in his system. And that's the colloquial way that people talk about ethylene glycol poisoning. Ethylene glycol is a chemical that goes into antifreeze, and it is poisonous to people. It's metabolites when your body breaks it down. It causes your liver to stop, your kidneys to stop working, and then eventually can shut down your brain. You'll hear that those symptoms that I talked about at the beginning, the falling down, the unable to talk, the stomach pains, the groaning, you'll hear that those are all the first symptoms of ethylene glycol, antifreeze poisoning. Now, after he goes to Anna Jake's, they send him off to Mount Auburn in Cambridge, another hospital where they can provide a higher level, hopefully, of care. And you're going to hear from the doctor, one of the doctors who treated him at Mount Auburn, that all of the signs that she could see, all the signs that you're going to hear about the medical terms, it's called an anion gap, an osmolar gap, some crystals that are forming in his urine. These are all signs of antifreeze poisoning, of ethylene glycol poisoning. On the 13th, November 13th, so this happened on the 11th, the 911 call, he goes to the hospital. On the 13th, Mr. Fowler dies. His brain just stops working as a result of these poisons that are coursing through his body. The police start their investigation. And you'll see that very quickly they focused on this church as their suspect. They started talking to her. They realized that she had told different people different stories about what was going on with Mr. Fowler, in the 24 hours leading up to his death. They had been planning on going to Florida, around that house again. Mr. Fowler was fine on that Thursday, the day before, November 10th. Didn't show any signs of ethylene glycol poisoning. And they start talking to family, they start talking to friends, they start looking at her notebooks, they get into her phone. And they find out that, in fact, Miss Church has threatened in the past to poison Mr. Fowler. In fact, the day that he goes to the hospital, the day that he goes to Mount Auburn, Miss Church told Mr. Fowler's sister Oh yeah, that's one of our jokes. I joke about poisoning him. I joke about poisoning his milkshakes. And that's important because the way that you poison somebody with antifreeze, with ethylene glycol, you put it in something sweet. Antifreeze is a sweet-tasting substance.
Poison.
It can be hidden in sweet drinks. They keep looking. They find more. They find these stories, these diary entries, these notebook entries, where she talks about how bad their relationship is. She talks about how much she hates the other woman, a woman named Barbara Randall. And she refers to her repeatedly, both in her conversations with the police and in her notes and her notebooks, as the cunt. And I apologize for that word. It's so ugly.
You should.
But it just shows you exactly what she was thinking about Miss Randall, about the nature of their relationship. And you're going to have to read these and you're going to hear them. Some of them are vile. They really are, the way she talks about Miss Randall.
No warning whatsoever.
Please keep investigating, right? They go to her house on November 14th, the day after Mr. Fowler died, and they search that house. And among the items that they find is a Powerade bottle. Now, this is not the Powerade bottle that they found. This is just a representative of it, so I can show it to you. But Mr. Fowler loved his Powerade. He loved his sweet drinks. He loved his milkshakes. Loved his Diet Pepsi. He really had a horrible diet that appears to have consisted almost entirely of sugar. But they found a number of Powerade.
Commentary about
one that they found, it just didn't look right. There was a little tiny bit at the bottom, right? A little bit of tiny liquid left, and it just wasn't quite the right color. So they take it, and it goes to the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab for some further testing. And they test it for fingerprints. They don't find any fingerprints. They test it for DNA. And what they find on the outside of the bottle is that they find Mr. Fowler's DNA, which you would expect if he drank from it. They found Miss Church's DNA on the outside of the bottle, which you might expect because it's her house, and maybe she bought it, maybe she put it in the fridge, maybe she threw it in the trash. But they also tested the mouth of the bottle. And on the mouth of the bottle, where you could only get your DNA by touching the mouth and taking off that cap, they find Mr. Fowler's DNA. They also find Miss Church's DNA on the mouth of the bottle. And why am I talking about a Powerade bottle? Because they then tested the liquid. They tested the liquid that was found inside, that little bit that was left over, and it had antifreeze in it. It had ethylene glycol. So that's going to be the murder weapon. That's the gun. That's the knife. That's the method used to kill Mr. Fowler.
Powerade listed as the murder weapon now. They're obviously not a sponsor in this trial.
All the evidence that you're going to hear in this case about how Mr. Fowler died is going to be what I'm going to call circumstantial evidence. No one is going to stand up and say, I saw Miss Church put that ethylene glycol, I saw her put that antifreeze in the Powerade. That's not going to happen. No one's going to see, it's not a shooting or a stabbing where somebody can see what happens. It's all circumstantial evidence. It's all evidence that you're going to have to interpret and see what it means. And there's benefits to that, right? Sometimes it's great if you have somebody come in and say, yeah, I saw somebody shoot somebody, but you have to decide whether that witness is believable, right? But when it's circumstantial evidence, when it's the science, when it's the medical examiner coming in and saying, Mr. Fowler had ethylene glycol in his blood, when it's the chemist coming in and saying, Miss Church's DNA was on the mouth of the bottle. Those aren't things that you need to discern, that's the evidence, right? That's what you need to interpret, not what you need to decide is true or false. Mr. Fowler had ethylene glycol in his blood when he died. He had ethylene glycol in his blood that morning when the 911 call was made. Miss Church was the only person who had access to him during the time frame that ethylene glycol would take effect on the body, about an hour to 12 hours after consumption. She was the only one who said, I'm poisoning him through his milkshakes, through his sweet drinks. She told another friend of the family at a bar that summer before his death, If he ever cheats on me, I'll poison him.
I'm not sure what you call circumstantial evidence, but poison in the bottle is that's hard evidence.
Final thing that I want to talk to you about, and I left it for last because I sort of referenced it, but I told you that we know how Mr. Fowler was acting before that 911 call was made, that he was stumbling around the apartment, that he couldn't get his feet, he couldn't talk, he looks like he's in a lot of pain. Now that's important, one, because of the extreme atrocity and cruelty theory that the judge has talked to you about already. But it's most important because we know that evidence because as Mr. Fowler lay on the floor, moaning, trying to get up, whacking his head, bleeding in Miss Church's bedroom, she sat on the bed and she videotaped it with her iPhone. She videotaped him for a half an hour as he lay on the floor of her bedroom, dying from antifreeze poisoning.
We've got
get up.
Elements of Sarah Boone going on here.
She doesn't do anything to help him. She waits until he manages to choke out at the end, call 911, call an ambulance. She actually says that and he goes, yes, yes. It's the only words he gets out on that entire 30 minutes of video. She shows him his unopened birthday, she shows the camera his unopened birthday presents, complains that he's tearing the room apart, and she's telling him, tell me what you took. Knowing full well that antifreeze that she gave him was coursing through his body, killing him as he lay there.
Wow. Sarah Boone meets Corey Richens.
You're going to hear from a number of witnesses during the course of this case. Some of them civilians who were friends with these two, some of them family, and some of them the scientists and police officers who investigated this case. At the end, I'm going to remind you about all the things that we talked about here in the course of the openings. And I'm going to ask you to find Mr. Church guilty of murder in the first degree. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Camilio.
15 minutes.
Now you will hear from Mr. Scully on behalf of the defendant, Judy Church.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Get our first look at defense over here. Oh, nice. I like a good goatee like that. It reminds me of my own. Where's his watch? On his right arm.
Morning.
Morning.
It's nice to see you all together here after 2 long days of meeting you all individually. All of us, including the defense team and Ms. Church, owe you a great deal of gratitude. So thank you for agreeing to be the jurors on her trial. This trial has been a long time coming. This is her date in court. You are her jurors. And as the clerk, when she swore you in, eloquently said, you are her country. Now, you've all set aside your lives and all the important things that you're doing to come here every day on our schedule, to sit patiently, to listen, to keep an open mind, to evaluate evidence, to deliberate when the time comes, and to reach a verdict. And no matter what that verdict is, we all owe you the same debt of gratitude. But I suggest the verdict will be not guilty. Now, the evidence that's going to come in over the next 2.5 weeks is a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. It's not all on a timeline. Witnesses come in and testify, documents get introduced, photographs get introduced, videos get played, audios get heard. And each piece of evidence represents, or is similar to, a piece of the puzzle that the prosecution is trying to put together. And you, at the end of the day, are going to decide, do the pieces fit the way they say or not? Are there pieces they try to jam in that don't fit? And are there pieces that do fit but are the wrong color or otherwise don't make sense. And that's why it's essential to keep an open mind throughout the whole process until you get a good look at the entire puzzle that is this case.
Was the Powerade the wrong color?
Now, Judy Church, way over here. You've all had barely a chance to look at her. She comes before you now, 67 years old. She was then, in 2022, 64 years old. You will learn that she's originally from Bedford, Massachusetts, that she's one of 4 sisters, that her father, Donald, was a Navy man and a firefighter, and that her mother, Jean, was a mom and a bookkeeper with Blue Ribbon Dairy.
Her mother was a mom. That's awesome.
You will learn that Judy went to high school and graduated, worked as a waitress, and put herself through college. And that she eventually went to, got a degree, a bachelor's degree in education from Framingham State College. In 1988, she got a job as a school teacher at the Howe Manning Elementary School. In 1988, as a 3rd grade teacher. She taught in the 3rd grade for 1 year, and then she taught in the 4th grade for 30 years in a row. Same classroom, same school. And then she retired. Along the way, she got married. Her first husband, her only husband, Rusty. They had a son, Douglas. And in 2002, they moved to Salisbury, where this drama that is this trial starts to unfold, but not back then. They buy a house, and they move to Salisbury so Douglas could attend the Votech school. And they live together as a family, and they grow up, and they continue on. In 2012, Judy is 54 years old. Leroy Fowler comes onto the scene. He's 45 years old. He's a loose friend of the family. Rusty likes to ride motorcycles. Leroy likes to ride motorcycles. Judy likes to ride on the back of motorcycles. And they get to know each other through that circumstance. Leroy is in a relationship at that time with a woman named Julie Hawkins, mother of Michael Hawkins, who's a witness in this case. And Julie Hawkins is also described as like a second mother to Leroy Jr. So Leroy has this family, Julie Hawkins, Leroy his son, and Michael Hawkins, his stepson. But he leaves that family, and he looks for a place to live, Leroy. And he becomes a tenant at the home of Judy Church and Rusty. And this is where the relationship between Judy Church and Leroy Fowler starts to happen, comes to fruition. They start out as friends. They're in the same place. He's a lot younger, as you've heard. And he rides a motorcycle. And at that time, he's a construction worker. And he's a vibrant guy. And he represents some youth to Judy. They start hanging around. Too much, maybe. And then they fall in love. And a romance blossoms. Judy's still living in the house with her husband. And Leroy is in the house with them in a different unit. Husband Rusty finds out, and Judy and Leroy leave the house. Judy leaves her marriage. She's in love with Leroy Fowler, and she's going to give up her old life in search of something a little younger, a little newer, a little more exciting, something that's enticing. Now, this starts what I would suggest is a honeymoon phase between them. And that lasts for a while. What do? They buy a house. Actually, Judy buys a house. 108 Central Ave in Salisbury. And they move in together. And it's a fixer-upper. It's where this all happens. Judy and Leroy eventually move into the top floor. Douglas, Judy's son, moves into the bottom floor, and there's a cottage with some tenants in the back. These tenants don't really have any factual connection to this case. But there they are. And Judy and Leroy build a life together, a new life, and it's exciting. And they have fun. They go on motorcycle rides. They buy a dog together named Salt, who joins the other dog already owned by Leroy. They work on this fixer-upper all the time, and it's its own entity within their lives. And things are good. And it takes a while to get that all done. It takes about 3 years. And then someone comes on the scene that dramatically changes that. And the honeymoon period comes to an end. Leroy Fowler meets a woman named Barbara Randall. Barbara Randall is younger than Judy by almost 5 years, and he begins an affair with Barbara Randall. He starts to see her on the side. Judy finds out about it, and she is heartbroken, and she is angry at Barbara and at Leroy. And she wants Leroy to stop. But he doesn't. He refuses to stop. And so what emerges, and this is now in 2017, 2018, okay? Years earlier, in 2022, where Leroy Fowler dies. What emerges in 2018 is a love triangle that Leroy Fowler has stuck these two women in, and neither one of them like it, and neither one of them like each other.
They know each other.
Judy refers to Barbara as the C word.
There, thank you.
Barbara refers to Judy as grandma. Constantly, whenever she's talking and texting with Leroy, why don't you go home with grandma? You don't want to be with me. Leroy would. And so he creates this dynamic that goes on for years with these two women. Neither one of them want it. But he imposes it on them. And over time, they accept it. And those journal entries and that anger in the phone and in the journals, many of those were written in that era. When Judy was really mad, and she would pick up the pen or get on her phone, and to channel her anger, she would put it all into those places. Get it out of her system. I hate you, I'm mad at you, whatever it said. That's a good place to do it. But then every time Leroy came home, she took him back. Now, over time, her plan became, I'm going to be the last woman standing. I taught in the same classroom for 30 years. I'm not leaving this guy who I love. I'm not giving up on him, even though it hurts, even though I don't like it. And so she decides, I'm sticking this through. And this goes on for years. And in
years.
In fact, Leroy always comes back, and he lives with Judy. That's who he lives with. And over time, that bizarre love triangle kind of normalizes. It's not good. Leroy might like it, but Judy and Barbara don't like it. But it gets accepted. Until 2022. 2022 is the exact opposite of what the prosecution has tried to lay out for you and is the backbone of their case. 2022 is really the year for Judy because Leroy is getting tired of Barbara and he's getting ready to leave her. And he's going to stay with Judy. And we know this because in 2021 in December, they get in Judy's Jeep and they drive together to Florida. They're both getting older now. Leroy's health isn't doing so good. You heard references to pacemakers. He's got other issues coming on the scene. He's not doing great. He's out of work now. He's on SSDI. Got got some food stamps. So he's not the young guy he was, the swashbuckler on the motorcycle.
Swashbuckler.
When he first met Judy. But he's her guy. So they drive to Florida and they shop for a home. See if they can find a house to live. They're going to move and get a new start on life. And leave Salisbury, and leave drugs, and leave alcohol, and leave other things, and leave Barbara behind. And give it a new go. Build a new house, like the first house they built. See if they get the little magic of the honeymoon period back. And Judy buys them a house. She buys them a house, which is a trailer house. She pays cash out of her savings, $111,000. And she puts it in his name. That's the guy she hates and wants to kill. She puts that house in his name and they buy it. And they live in that house in Florida in 2022, January, February, and March. Right? And they live there.
Snowbirds.
And they make a plan to come back to this Florida house that they called their Forever house. And Judy also bought Leroy a truck, a black Dodge Ram truck, new to him, used for $13,000, and put it in his name so that he could have that to help them move back and forth. The house was in both their names. Both their names.
I thought you said it was in his
Their
name.
dream. Now, they get back to Salisbury, and of course the plan is to get organized and get back down to Florida. You arrive here in New England in the spring, it leads to the summer, and they're still sort of dallying with this idea. There's this plan to go, but the plan doesn't get quite put in motion. But it's still a plan. So throughout the spring, into the summer, it's still a plan between Judy and Leroy to go. And then the plan becomes to go that weekend that Leroy dies. So, on November 5th, 2022, Leroy sends a text message to Barbara. He breaks up with her, says it's over. I'm packed, the trailer is packed, and I'm moving to Florida with Judy. That's November 5th, right? Judy has won, if it's a competition, right? Judy has her man at long last. She has the home they're going to go to, and they're going within days. It's just a matter of the final packing arrangements. Winter is coming, it's getting colder, and they're going to Florida to live. So how could her motive be to kill him then? They're stringing this motive from all kinds of stuff, little jokes taken out of context that are off color, old entries from journals, stray text messages, trying to cobble them together. But they don't fit. They don't fit. These two were going to Florida that weekend. So what happened on the early morning that Leroy died is he has a room that's sort of the man room on one end of the house. Judy's got the bedroom that's hers and his on the other end of the house, and the living space is in between. At some point in the early morning, Leroy, it's his birthday, comes down the hall to visit with Judy. They've been texting each other all night, even though they're not far away. And there's no animosity between them in those text messages. They're about sex.
I'm glad she's blinking.
And he comes down the hall,
concerned that she'd passed away. She's holding very
in the bedroom,
still.
he's not doing well, right? He starts to fall out of bed. He falls down. He's becoming less and less coherent. He's not looking good, and she's asking, what did you take, Leroy? What did you take? By this time, he's a cocaine addict, heavy user. He's also a Percocet abuser. And maybe other things. But she doesn't know, so she's saying, what did you do, Leroy? What did you take? And she's filming him for the purpose of educating him for this is what you're doing to yourself, whatever it is. And on the film, she asks, can I call 911? Can I call 911? And eventually he says yes. And she does.
I think I missed 2 coughs there.
She's the one who calls 911 and says, my boyfriend ingested something, and she gives specific directions as to how to get into the house. Now, the EMTs arrive, and they observe Leroy and try to find out what happened. Here's something that Leroy doesn't say. He doesn't say, she did something to me. Or he doesn't say, I've been poisoned. He says, I took 10 perks, 10 Percocets. It doesn't seem from the labs that get them later like he did take 10 Percocets. At least they didn't seem to appear in his system. But the point isn't whether he took them or not. The point is, that's his time to say, I think she did something to me. But of course he didn't do that. Because she didn't do anything to him. And he knew it. Now what happens is, there's the, what emerges is what I'll loosely term a conspiracy theory. The police talk to Michael Hawkins, son of Julie Hawkins. They talk to Leroy Fowler's son, Leroy, Julie Hawkins' second son. They talk to Tammy Carbone. They talk to Barbara Randall, right? And then out of the woodwork, 2 years later, that friend who says he had a conversation in the bar with Judy, who said, I'll poison him if he cheats on me, right? That's John Haywood. He comes forward 2 years later. He's Leroy's first cousin. These are the civilian witnesses you're going to hear from. And they all throw shade at Judy, right? They're all picking, oh, this piece of little evidence, or she said this once, or I have this text message, or I swear Leroy said this to me, even though Leroy's not around, right? And this becomes the foundation of the prosecution case. These things. From these people. And they're admittedly hurt, angry, upset, confused, looking for answers, but they get the wrong answers by pointing the finger at her. And that gets demonstrated through the science and the math of this case. Basic science and basic math. Lawyers don't go to law school because they're good at math and science, right? So the police go eventually and they search Judy Church's home, and they find this bottle, which is not this exact bottle, but this is a replica of the bottle.
No, that's a bottle.
That bottle should come in as an exhibit, as will many photographs. And it's a red Powerade fruit punch drink. It is known to be, by family members who tell the police, this is Leroy's, one of his favorite drinks. This is one of his favorite drinks. And it's in a clear plastic bottle, and in the bottom of it is not something that doesn't look right. In the bottom of it is something that's bright orange, a bright orange liquid. Bright orange liquid. In the bottom of what's supposed to be red powder. What they're trying to suggest is that Judy Church somehow slipped in this invisible, sweet-tasting ethylene glycol from antifreeze, and then he drank it all and didn't know it. Then came down the hallway and didn't know that he just drank something poison even when he talked to the EMTs. That's what they're trying to suggest. Well, they're trying to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt. So now there's this clear plastic bottle, supposed to have red fruit punch in it, his favorite drink, and it's got orange, something orange in it. The police sees it, they test it, right? And it comes back positive for ethylene glycol. Prosecutor referred to it as antifreeze. It's a common ingredient. And left to itself, that is a sweet-tasting ingredient, ethylene glycol, by itself. But there's a Massachusetts general law that requires that when these products are sold in Massachusetts, and there's others in other states, that antifreeze and other things that use ethylene glycol have to have a bittering agent in it to alert people, right? So there's not an accidental consumption or something like that. Doesn't mean you wouldn't be able to chug it down if you were determined, but you would be alerted to its presence. They don't test for it. Ever. Even now. But the defense does. We hire a lab and say, hey, we have a test for this bittering agent. Was it in there? And they do the testing, and they find, yes, it was. The bittering agent was in substance. So now you've got the clear plastic bottle, supposed to have red liquid in it, has bright orange liquid in it, seems to have it, has the ethylene glycol in it from some source, probably antifreeze, and has the bittering agent. That's the basic science. Bittering agent is called denatonium benzoate.
So the defense now proved it was antifreeze in the bottle.
The math of it is essentially that based on the amount of ethylene glycol in Leroy Fowler's blood, and based on the concentration of it in the sample, it appears that he would have had to have drank about 3 bottles of that stuff to put himself in the state that he was in. And that's just the math of it. So these are the questions that exonerate Judy Church. Now, what happened to Leroy? What happened to Leroy, right? Well, you guys might be in the best position of all to get good insight into that. You're going to hear from all these witnesses and get a chance to evaluate all the evidence. And you might figure it out, or have good ideas about it. Or you might not. You might not figure it out. Because that's not your mission. Your mission isn't to find out, well, what did happen to Leroy?
Should you choose to accept
Your mission is much narrower and much clearer. Have they proved beyond a reasonable doubt that she murdered him? That's your mission. Now, when Leroy died, so did all of Judy's dreams to go to Florida. So did many of her relationships, including a valuable one with Tammy Carbone, Leroy's sister-in-law, and other people. She got accused, and now she stands alone to defend herself. But Judy Church is not a murderer. She's a lot of things. She's a daughter, sister, a mom, teacher, an educator, an ex-wife, girlfriend, a bit of a fool. She's not a murderer.
He's
At the end of this trial, the defense will have another chance to address you all, and by then, the jigsaw puzzle will be finished. And it will be missing pieces, and at least one of those pieces is going to be the wrong color.
Like the antifreeze.
Bright orange. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Scully. Mr. Camilli, are you prepared to start with your first witness? Or I can. All right. Let's take the break at about 11, but let's get going with the first witness.
We're a little bit behind.
I'm also Monica Arms.
About half an hour behind. We'll be catching up through the breaks.
If anybody would like to stand up and stretch for a moment before our work first witness.
This is a yoga judge. Love it. Stand up and stretch. Everyone in the court stands up, except for the court clerk or recorder there. Cough counter's at 21. Keep me honest on that one, guys. If you hear one and you don't see it go up, just type the number in chat. It's like if you heard one and I don't count it, just say 22.
Do me a favor, just stand on this blue line.
They have a blue line on
Please raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause down here shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Thank you. Maybe it is.
Give me a second to get the coughs, but you don't need to tell me all the numbers every time, but if I don't get it,
Good morning.
keep me honest.
Good morning. You can have a seat. Good morning, ma'am. In a nice loud voice, could you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name?
Sure. My name is Monica Carnes, C-A-R-N-E-S.
Hey, ma'am, where do you work?
Salisbury, Massachusetts Police Department.
How long have you worked for the Salisbury Police Department, ma'am?
Approximately 23 years.
And what is your current job position with the Salisbury Police Department?
I'm the dispatch coordinator.
What does that mean?
I basically run dispatch.
So just for, it might be obvious, but what's dispatch? What's that do?
So we have 2 minimum dispatchers per shift. We answer 911, handle both police and fire calls.
Okay. And so if a 911 call comes in or another call comes in, you would connect that to the right person or send out people to respond to those types of calls?
We usually send it out. The only thing we really send out is medical calls. We'll transfer it to Atlantic Ambulance. They give emergency medical instructions. They're called EMD instructions. And the rest of the stuff we handle dispatch, both police and fire internally.
All right. And how long have you been doing this particular job?
23 years.
Okay. And are you a civilian or are you a police officer?
Civilian.
Okay. And is this full-time job or part-time?
Full-time job.
Okay. Do you have a particular shift that you usually work?
It's a 4 and 2 rotation, so I work 4 days on, 2 days off, and they're usually between the hours of 7 and 3.
7 a.m. to 3 p.m.?
7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Sorry.
2022.
Now, at the Salisbury Police Department, when a call comes in, is that call recorded?
So it depends on what line it's on. If it's on the 911 line, it is recorded. If it's on the regular business lines, it is not recorded.
Those calls are just kept in the ordinary course of business by the Salisbury Police Department?
Yes, we have a 911 recorder that handles the recording, housing the recording of the 911 calls.
All right. And I want to take you back to November 11th of 2022. Were you working on that day?
I was.
Were you working a normal 7 to 3 shift?
I was.
Were you working with anybody else that day?
Scarlett Smith, she was my co-dispatcher at that day.
Okay. Now, a few minutes after 8 a.m. that morning, did you take a phone call regarding a medical issue?
I did.
Okay. This call was recorded, is that right?
It was.
And approximately how long you stayed on the line with the call?
I'm not sure. I'd say approximately a minute.
Okay. And at the conclusion of your conversation with the caller, did you do anything with the call, send it anywhere else?
Yes, I sent it to Atlantic Ambulance for pre-arrival medical instructions or EMD protocols.
Okay. Ma'am, show you a CD and just ask you, that the 911 call was, copy of the 911 call was placed on the CD for this trial?
Yep.
Okay. Your Honor, after it says, first degree.
Any objection? No objection. It may be admitted.
Yeah, we have it already preloaded, so we can just play it. This is the court's permission.
You may.
Hope you can hear this well. Hang on, someone's at my door.
Salisbury Police Department, City Court of Where's emergency? Yes, 108 Central Ave. We need an ambulance. What's going on there? I don't know. My boyfriend must have ingested something, and he can't stand, and I can't help him. And he's torn the bedroom apart trying to stand. Now his nose is bleeding, and he told me call the ambulance. Okay, is he having abdominal pain or just difficulty standing? Well, it sounds like he's in pain. Yeah, well, he's in pain because he's hit everything in his bedroom. Okay. Is there an apartment number at 108? Yeah, you have to come up the ramp to the first set of stairs. Okay, so what I'm going to do is transfer you to Atlantic Ambulance, so just giving you pre-arrival instructions so this isn't delaying anyone, okay? Okay, we don't want to go to, we're not going to EMD, do you hear me?
We're not going there?
And then I can tell you, some call for a transfer phone call, just confirm the address and phone number, so.
Call
call the address of the emergency. 108 Central Ave, second floor. Just to come up the ramp up towards the beach and take the first set of stairs. I'll wait for you.
All right, repeat that address for verification, please.
108 Central Ave.
And that's the ramp towards the beach.
Yes. November 11, 2022, 8:04:23. November 11.
Now, was that an accurate transcript or excuse me, an accurate recording of the 911 call that you participated in that morning?
Yes.
Okay. And as a result of that call, did you dispatch any police officer or firefighter to go to that scene as well?
I dispatched. I advised the supervisor on duty that my partner was toning out for the fire department. So what I would say, can I say what I would normally say? Okay. So what I would normally say is control to whichever my supervisor is, that be advised that fire and ambulance are responding to such and such address for a medical. In this case, I said that they're responding to 108 Central Ave for a medical aid. Calling party reports that she believes her boyfriend ingested something. Was, I believe, my wording.
Perfect. Thank you. And was that the end of your involvement with that 911 call that morning?
It was my end of involvement with the 911 call itself, yes. Not the call. I was still having officers call and clear, so I was still handling normal dispatch things.
All right. Perfect. Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Narcotis?
Just very briefly, Your Honor.
Quick
morning,
one.
ma'am.
Morning.
So the caller identified the address, right?
Correct.
And then identified themselves as well. At that ad, gave a name to you.
On the recording, she didn't give her name to me.
And then you, at that point in time, have made a determination that there should be emergency medical personnel going, right?
Correct.
And it's a standard practice that both the fire and the ambulance would go.
It can be. It's up to the police supervisor whether or not he wants to send a medical call. That they make. Sometimes they go, sometimes they don't. If they're busy on the police side, they don't always go.
And are the fire themselves EMTs?
The fire department is EMTs.
And they would be the first responders relative to that. In the statement that she gave to you, she believed he had been falling, right?
Yes.
And may have hurt himself, and that he was ingesting something is what she thought had taken place, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Thank you. Any redirect, Mr. Camille?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
You may step down.
Thank you.
You want to do one more, Joe, or do you want to take
Is the next one quick as well?
Not quite that quick, but...
We'll take the break now after the witnesses step down. I'll just... Jurors, just... you heard me ask if there was any redirect. Just so you understand the rules, each side gets 2 rounds of questions for questioning with each witness. So the party that calls the witness does the direct examination.
Judge is explaining the rules about direct, cross, and redirect.
Redirect, and then recross. Here you didn't see any redirect or recross. It was unnecessary, but you may see much of that during the trial. And then the questioning ends after that second round.
Get 2 bites of the apple, that's it.
So we're going to take the morning recess now. Let's take 20 minutes now, and then we convene, and the Commonwealth will continue the presentation of the case.
All right, as they go break, we're going to fast forward because we're just about 20 minutes behind, and we do want to catch up a little bit. Give us a minute to, here we go, to get up to the next witness. So no break for you, unfortunately. We're just going to pick up right where we were. So, all right, interesting seal. Looks like a shield landed on somebody who was trying to stab somebody. What's happening behind the shield? That's what I want to know. What's happening behind the shield? Interesting.
Very good. The jury's on its way in. Yes, sir. Bill, let me know when you're headed down the hall. Who's your next witness, Mr. Camillo?
The next witness is Adam Foss.
What's the Latin on that one?
Is that law enforcement or non-law enforcement?
I'm sorry?
Is that law enforcement?
Firefighter. Firefighter EMT.
Next up, firefighter We are still a couple minutes behind. I think about 10 minutes behind live, but we're getting caught up fast. Yes, we have back-to-back poison trials. It has the this one I'd say has vibes of Mark Jensen, Sarah Boone, and Corey Richens all bundled up into one. Any suggestions? If this is actually a 2.5-week trial, what do you think the cough counter is going to be at by the end? It's definitely going to be in the at least 3 digits, possibly 4. Might be one of our highest counters ever. It's a good guess, Debbie. $1 million. I'm going to count that as 1, even though it was a double cough. Mine don't count.
Yes, thank you.
All right, for the judge.
All right, for the judge. Judge rose for the jury.
Judge, remain standing.
You don't take points out.
Be seated.
Like a good loud
Adam
bell.
Boss.
Sorry, Rich, I talked over the name. The judge looks slightly bemused by the proceedings happening in this courtroom. There's some Latin words on the ribbon on the state seal when we show it next, which will be a while. It'll be lunchtime before we see it again, I think, unless there's a sidebar or something. I think is Latin. It said something like petite, which means little, I believe.
Sir, if you'd raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now and hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. You may be seated.
Good morning, sir. In a nice loud voice, could you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name?
Good morning, Adam Foss. Last name's Foss.
Sir, what do you do for work?
I'm a firefighter.
And a mustache.
And how long have you been a firefighter, sir?
21 years.
And where are you a firefighter?
Salisbury, Massachusetts.
Okay. And have you been in Salisbury your entire career?
I have.
What is your current rank?
I'm a lieutenant.
Okay. And as a lieutenant with the firefighter, the fire department, obviously I understand you guys fight fires, but what are your particular duties and responsibilities?
So as a lieutenant, I'm in charge of my shift and the people that work with me on a day-to-day basis. We respond to a majority of calls are, medical aids, motor vehicle accidents, house fires, as you mentioned, everything from a stub toe to a cardiac arrest.
Okay. And in addition to your training to fight fires, do you have any medical training?
I do. I am a basic EMT, which means I provide basic life support services.
Okay. And how long have you been qualified as an EMT, sir?
Pretty much, I think 2004. I got it right before getting hired as a firefighter.
Okay. When a call for medical assistance comes in and you're notified, how do you and the fire department respond to a call like that?
So it'll go through our dispatch center. They'll send out a tone, let us know what the nature of the call is, if they have a nature of the call. Otherwise, it's just a medical aid request, give us a location. We respond in the fire engine. We're a Class 5 fire engine, which means that we respond to all medical aid calls, but we don't transport.
All right. Now, when you go out to these types of calls, so do you usually go by yourself, or are you usually with anybody else?
Well, myself and my crew. There's either 3 or 4 of us in the engine. Police sometimes respond depending on the nature of the call and location. And then we also have a private ambulance service that provides transportation for patients. That's Cataldo/Atlantic.
Okay. Now, sir, I want to take you back to November 11th of 2022. Were you working on that day?
Yes.
And do you have a particular shift that you work, or do you work 24 hours, or how does that work?
So we work 24-hour shifts. I'm trying to remember at that point. I had been a lieutenant for a few years. I think we kind of had a mixed shift that day. Not the group I'm working with now.
Okay.
But yeah, we work 24-hour shifts, 1 on, 2 off, 1 on, then 4 off.
Okay. Now, at a little bit after 8 o'clock that morning, so around 8:02, 8:05, did you respond to a location in Salisbury for a report of a medical call or medical assistance?
Yes.
Okay, do you remember what that address was?
I didn't really write it down. They come in, they go, I'll respond to a ton of calls. So.
Can I refresh your memory if I said 108 Central?
Central, yes, yeah.
When you responded to the call, were you coming from the fire station, fire department?
I believe so. I don't. Sometimes we run from one call to the next. I believe we responded from the firehouse.
And you were able to arrive on scene how quickly after the notification?
Rather quickly. I don't have the notes in front of me, but usually response times are within like 5 to 6 minutes.
Okay. So when you arrive at 108 Central, what do you do? Were you the first one on scene, or were other people already there when you got there?
Actually, I believe police was on scene first, and I believe it was a number of units all in one building. So he was checking the rear unit first, and then we came to the building or the structure that was closest to the street, knocked on the door, and went into there. So I think we had actually entered the building first, but police were on scene trying to figure out where we were going.
Okay. So when you entered the building, what did you first notice when you entered the building?
A lot of clutter. Just kind of stuff everywhere. I mean, we come across that quite often, honestly, but just a lot of stuff like as we walk through, on the countertops, we worked our way through and then to a bedroom.
Okay. And when you got to the bedroom, did you see somebody that looked like they were in some form of medical distress?
Yep, there was an individual seated on the ground next to, I believe it was a bed, and just really unable to, communicate with us.
I know Salisbury is a fairly small town. Did you know the individual when you saw him?
I did not.
Okay. You learned his name to be Leroy Fowler?
Correct.
Okay. And so you said that your initial observation of Mr. Fowler was he was sitting on the floor in the bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. What else could you, as you approached and got closer and started to render some aid, what else did you notice?
He wasn't able to communicate with us. Typically when we respond to a medical aid call, we'll try to ask a series of questions, establish, is he baseline, obviously conscious, alert, breathing, all the basics, and then we get into like history and, what the chief complaint is, why we're there. Unable to answer any of that, just kind of moaning, groaning, no words, no sentences, so we really couldn't get any history from him.
Did you try to stand up while you were there in the room with him?
He was making like involuntary movements, reaching out, trying to grab stuff. He was, even though he was seated, he was kind of uneasy. At one point, I kneeled down beside him just to steady him and try to like make eye contact and get more information. But again, we were unable to.
Okay, so that time that you were in the bedroom with him, he wasn't able to communicate with you at all.
No, just noises.
Okay. Yep. Now, you mentioned that there was a police officer there who responded, and Lieutenant Delaria, is that correct?
Correct.
All right. And you may know, I'm sure you know now, that Salisbury police officers wear body cams when they respond to calls like this, is that correct?
Correct.
Do you have an opportunity to watch the body cam footage of your response to 108 Central on November 11th, 2022, sort of preparation for your testimony here today?
I did. Okay.
Your Honor, I'd offer that body cam footage.
No objection. All right.
I think
Maybe
it's
admitted as Exhibit 2?
one cougher that's causing the super spreader event here.
And with the court's permission, we're going to play what's now marked as Exhibit 2, starting at about the 3-minute and 15 mark, just to cut out the officer's travel time driving his car to the.
Do we get to see? Do show us. We don't get to see. Bird feeder's empty.
Is there a ramp over here? Yeah, is there a ramp? No? Well, there's no answer to the door. Hello? 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 Set up the ramp. No. No, they said up the ramp, which I would assume is this one. Can you call it back? We're getting no answer to doors. It's a big hippo. We open this door. Head's like this big, just looking at me.
This is all attached, yes.
Yeah, this is the. Is that what
We go for the fire department?
Someone in there?
Are they the wrong one?
We were able to raise her.
Like a sickle or scythe over there.
What the fuck happened in there? See some clean.
What's going on? Why are you on the floor?
He's almost there. This is the, come back. And, what is it? And it was around 6:30. And, he said, I fell like 3 times. Again, my leg hurt. So I helped him to the bathroom. And he just bounced me on every wall it was. Leroy?
Leroy!
Ow, got a kid?
Leroy! Hey! Leroy! What's going on, bud? Hey! What's going on today?
He must have been just in something, I don't know how.
He's got a careful.
Working in house all day yesterday. So that's my thought, I mean, it's not ever like this.
Leroy! Leroy! Oh, Dad. It's like a seizure maybe?
When's the last time you saw him, like, normal?
Yesterday.
Yesterday?
Last night.
Last night. So today, you guys woke up,
Should you have your gloves?
And, watching TV, doing weather. And, To my knowledge, he did not have any drugs on him.
Wasn't it known to use any drugs? Even like marijuana or anything like that? Anything?
No.
Gummies, stuff like that?
What's that?
Like gummies and like...
No. He doesn't. This looks like perks to me.
Okay.
I've seen it before.
He's taking drugs before?
I've seen it before.
Has he taken them before?
Yes. I've seen this behavior.
Reactions, okay. You okay, bud?
Leroy! Leroy! Hey!
But I can't say it. I don't even know where we would have gotten. You know, worked around the yard all day yesterday.
Okay, all right.
You haven't been complaining or anything? Headache, dizziness?
Well, he was busy yesterday, doing work. He just more than he should.
Okay. And chest pain, you complaining chest pain, shortness of breath, and cough?
He wouldn't tell you this.
No. See any history of seizures? No.
Diabetic or anything? Diabetic or anything?
Nope.
No?
But he has a pacemaker, so his heart issues. He smokes too much, so he has, I can hear the COPD.
Okay. Good. I'll set back there.
You want to let him stay in the chair? So you want to take a walk out?
Yes, if you don't mind. Just not, yeah, thank you. Something hurt you, Leroy? Something, you in pain?
He bounced off every sharp point in this one.
Like seizure maybe or something?
It is a late one.
He wouldn't tell me. I read that as an emergency state. It's just like the video came in. After a while. Whatever it is.
So he was talking to you?
Just that, and, call the ambulance after that.
So you actually told him to call the ambulance?
Yes.
Well, relax, Leroy, we got you. Sit back. Sit back, big guy.
Good study, Paul. Relax. It's all right, relax.
It's okay, bud. You guys want to pull me in this? I don't hear that. Oh, okay.
Hold on, love. Relax.
Hey, Leroy, relax, buddy. We're here to help you.
Relax.
Just lean forward. No, don't fight us.
Didn't have room for a stretcher.
You got a pacemaker.
Do you have anything with medical history like that? Just a pacemaker?
He said, like, call the ambulance, something like that. We can't communicate with us now. Yeah, that's right.
Faster. Leroy, we're going to take you out the room with a chair. You want to sit in here at all? Shake your head, yes, no?
gas on? There's gas on.
Do you have a list or anything? Okay, any allergies?
That's just going.
Anyone, you gotta sit back, alright? We're gonna put some straps around you, we're gonna carry you out. Yeah. Yeah, if you wanna drive, but we can get home somehow. So, what if, other than the pacemaker, what does he have for medical issues? Anything?
No, really? Oh, fuck, so we have to close and then open? I don't even know. Pick up and over, huh? Hey, you guys can have a challenge getting them out of here. It's not. This is when I go. Yeah. Tough time getting him out of here. It's a clusterfuck. He's like combative because I don't know if he had a seizure or something, but.
It's him to be through. I can't manage, you know. And that's him.
What about another minute of video here?
Was that what did Grace say?
There's no urgency with the parking brake, and also we need to front brakes as well, so that's why the fluid limits coming out. So you can do that Monday and do your car.
You can do it next week. Fall.
Now, with the caveat that the officer wearing the body cam kind of stepped in and out of the room that you were in, did that accurately portray the your interactions with Mr. Fowler on November 11th of 2022?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in the video, as it's playing, you can hear in the background or on the audio somebody groaning, sort of almost constantly. Who is that?
It was the individual on the ground.
Mr. Fowler?
Yes.
Okay. And obviously you had a little bit more contact with him than the video shows because the video doesn't quite get him into the ambulance. From when the video ends until you ended your involvement with Mr. Fowler that morning, was he able to give you any other information? Was he able to talk to you at all?
I don't recall any conversation with him.
Did his appearance or his demeanor change at all from when you got him into the chair into those last couple of seconds before he got into the ambulance?
I'd say the only difference would be he kind of, I guess, maybe felt more stimulated because we were moving him, so started to grow a little bit more. I think you heard at one point said it just relaxed. We're trying to get him in a chair and get him out. Started to be a little bit more movement-wise with the arms and stuff like that, but that's it.
And based on your medical treatment, I know you're not a doctor, were you able to figure out what, at that point, what was wrong with him?
No, that was what we struggled with, trying to come up with the right plan and hospital for him. We really had no idea what was going on.
Okay. So while you were there on scene, did you aside from sort of holding him up to make sure he didn't fall down and hurt himself that way, did you provide any sort of medical intervention for him that morning at the house?
No.
And in the bedroom itself where you were, or in the kitchen as you walked in and out, did you notice any drugs or anything like that anywhere in the apartment?
I did not.
I don't have any further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Your witness, Mr. Narconis.
In relation to responding to an event such as this, ultimately you do some sort of paperwork when you get back to the station, right?
That's correct.
And this is actually two different types of, I have two different types of documents. One would be the incident report filed by the Salisbury Police Department. Did you have an opportunity to look at that before you came in here today?
Yes, I believe, yes.
And in relation also to that, there is a pre-hospital care report. Is that also done by your group?
It is.
Okay. Did you have an opportunity to look at that?
I did not. I did not fill out that report.
And would you possibly, within the context of that, there's a narrative. Judge, may I approach to refresh this?
If you may approach. If you dare with me sounding like this.
You do the unmarked one, all my secret
Everybody's sick in this courtroom.
Now there's a narrative section in that, and the purpose of that would be what?
I'm sorry, the purpose of the narrative?
Yeah.
To describe the events, what we saw, what we witnessed, what we did.
Okay. And within the context of that, the fourth line down said he was conscious and somewhat alert when you first got there, correct?
I'm just making sure, so is this the patient care report? Because again, this isn't my report. This isn't my report, though.
This is not your report?
No, so can I explain?
Well, let me take you through it. In the corner, it has the same symbol that is from the fire department, right?
I must object. There's no refreshing going on here. The report itself is not evidence, so we just need to actually ask a admissible question.
Well, I'm going to allow Mr. Narconis to at least ask the witness about whose report or what this report is. Whether I permit any other questions remains to be seen. Go ahead, Mr. Narconis.
And I'm showing you a second report titled Salisbury Fire Department. The purpose of that would be it has the same logo in the upper corner as the other report called the Pre-Hospital Care Report, correct?
Yes, so these are two different reports. I did write this one.
The two reports that are required by your department in responding to such a call as this?
Yes, one gets reported to the state, one is in-house and is on our record system.
But it's the group under you that responded that would supply the information for both those reports, right?
Correct.
So within the context then of the narrative that is there, either you or one of the other people with you filled out that report and said he was conscious and somewhat alert, correct?
Same objection, Judge.
Sustained. The witness has said this is not his report. He didn't fill it out.
Okay. Again, that is a report done by someone of the crew that's shown in that film, correct?
This patient pre-hospital care report was done by a member shown in that video, yes. Not myself.
One of the people with you, right?
Correct.
Okay. Under your direction, right?
Correct.
And at any point in time, do you adopt that and sign that since you were in charge of that group and it becomes your report?
I do not. That's what this report's for.
Who did the actual narrative report? Of those men who were there with you, who did that report?
Matthew Swenson, he was on shift that day, and he was the lead tech for that call.
And in the context of it, do you collectively get together before a report like that is filed and say, how do we report this?
We have discussions on it, but it's up to him to write how he handled the call, what he did for treatments. I don't really have any input other than, sharing experiences on calls and trying to, figure out what was going on. But this is just a factual report on what he did.
Okay. So he's the person that does the medical assessment.
Correct. We always work in teams, but there's always a lead tech, we call it, and that's the one responsible for doing the pre-hospital care report.
So from the fire department, from the crew that we just saw there is a person that is responsible for the medical assessment.
Correct.
And that's the person that did the analysis.
Correct.
So you don't make the medical assessment.
Well, again, we work as a team to provide care for the patient, but when it comes to the record portion, record keeping, only one person can write a report, and it's the lead tech. So that would have been Matt for this call.
And that would be the person most qualified to give the medical assessment of the group that was there.
Not always the most qualified. We were all basic EMTs, so we had the same qualifications. Again, it was just on that particular shift, I was in charge. It was his responsibility to do the report. That's just kind of how
You're
it.
going to want to make sure he doesn't write something that you completely disagree with, right? You're the shift commander, right?
I've never come across that. Well,
that wasn't the question. You don't want him to write down something that you don't agree with, right?
I don't really have any control over that. He writes down, what he saw, what he did, how he performed, vitals. That's. I never questioned. We train on this. I never questioned one of my guys whether he's doing a report correctly.
So if he's in charge, he makes the medical assessment independent of you. Your observations as to medical issues there don't carry the same weight, right?
I'm not quite sure I understand.
One person, you're telling me, makes the medical assessment. One person.
No, I said one person does a report.
Of the medical assessment. Without any input from you.
On the report, correct. I don't provide any input while he's making the report.
So whatever that says, whoever else it goes to, or whoever accountability is for that, your hands are clean.
I don't understand.
Any of the shift commander,
correct.
People under you report what you believe should be reported as a charge, or they don't, right?
I'm not sure
what you're telling me is the person that does this report
Will you let the witness answer the first question, Judge? Yes, just a moment. You asked the question and you started to say, I think, I'm not sure. You may finish what your response was to the first question.
Could you repeat the first question then?
You don't need to repeat the first question. I think we can infer you were saying you don't understand the question. Next question.
So this pre-hospital care report is done by the person most medically qualified of your group, and you don't have any input to it.
Again, that's not accurate.
What would be accurate about
it? It's not. I've already stated it's not the most qualified person. We have the same qualifications. It's the person that was in that role on that engine that day that was responsible for doing the report. Sometimes we alternate. If it was another call, I can say, okay, I'll do this report. Depends on who the lead tech was. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. He was the lead tech. I was the officer. The third individual was the driver. So we all have a role. Sure, we all assess patients. We all try to provide patient care. But there's only one individual that does that report. I don't put my fingers in it. Neither does the driver. Neither does the police officer. It's just that one individual. So.
Just the last couple of questions. So this would be the only report as to the condition of the person that you saw on that morning, correct?
From us, yes.
Can I explain the documents shows that?
Yes, you may.
Would it be a fair assessment that when entering the room, Mr. Fowler was conscious and somewhat alert? Is that your memory?
He was conscious and by somewhat alert, yeah. I mean, he was able to make noises.
Nothing further, thank you.
Mr. Camilio, any follow-up?
No, thank you, sir.
You may step down, Lieutenant. Thank you very much. Good. Before your next witness, I just want to make an observation to the jury. Jurors, during the testimony of the last witness, who Lieutenant Foss. You heard references to various reports, one of which he said he wrote, one of which he said he didn't. And throughout the course of this trial, you may hear various witnesses questioned about something that they may have said in a report, or perhaps something somebody else said in a report. It could be a reference to something a witness may have said in an interview, even perhaps a recorded interview. It may be a reference to what someone may have said in a grand jury. And when you hear these things, you may think to yourself, I'd like to see that report. I'd like to see that recorded interview. I'd like to see the grand jury transcript. What I want you to understand is that our rules of evidence allow the lawyers to make certain limited use of these documents. One of the most frequent ones is if somebody has said something in a report, for example, on a prior occasion, that may be construed to be somewhat different from what the witness may be saying on the witness stand. They may be asked, didn't you say something different during an interview? Didn't you say something different in your report? Did you say something different before the grand jury when testifying? That's a permissible use. But what neither side can do, neither lawyer on either side or any of the lawyers on either side can do, is simply offer those documents into evidence. So you shouldn't hold it against any attorney or the parties they represent that you're not seeing these things that you might think you'd like to see, because our rules of evidence don't permit them to do that. And so I want you to understand that at the outset as you start to hear these references to various documents and the like. Mr. Camilio, your next witness.
Thank you. Matthew Swenson.
Matthew Swenson. The judge is educating the public, one jury at a time, about how the legal system works. By the time we're done, we should be ready for the bar exam. Matthew Swenson on the way in. Probably another first responder, I'm guessing.
You can favor to stand on this blue line.
Sir, if you would kindly face me and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now in hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. You may be seated.
Let me just say these Chex Mix spicy dill, the best Chex Mix they ever made, hands down.
Good morning, sir. A nice loud voice. Could you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name, please?
Good morning. My name is Matthew Swenson. It's S-W-E-N-S-O-N.
All right. And I know it's maybe a little uncomfortable because you're a big guy and the microphone's a little too far away from you. You can pull it a little bit closer if you need to certify the step there. And sir, what do you do for work?
I am a fire lieutenant, EMT.
All right. And how long have you been a firefighter, sir, with the Salisbury Fire Department?
25 years.
Okay. And as a lieutenant with the fire department, sir, what are your duties and responsibilities?
I'm in charge of a shift. I have 3 firefighters under me.
Okay. And what sort of calls do you and other members of the Salisbury Fire Department respond to?
We respond to fire calls, public assists, medical emergencies, public service, pretty much everything.
All right. You guys are the Swiss Army knife, that sort of thing. So you also mentioned that in addition to being a lieutenant, you're also an EMT. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
All right. And when did you get your EMT training, sir?
In 1996.
Okay. So it's
30 years.
30 years. All right. So were you an EMT prior to becoming a firefighter?
Yes.
Okay. And that is just the basic EMT certification?
Yes.
All right. Now, sir, I want to take you back to November 11th of 2022. Were you working on that day?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And the jury heard from Lieutenant Foss a few minutes ago. So were the 2 lieutenants on shift that day?
No, I was just a firefighter at that time.
Oh, hadn't been promoted yet at that time. When did you get promoted?
2 years ago.
All right. So that particular day, you, Lieutenant Foss, and a couple of other individuals responded to a medical call a little bit after 8 a.m. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember where you went?
It was, I believe, 108 Central Avenue.
Was that an address that you were just sort of familiar with from living in Salisbury or being a member of this?
We knew Central Ave. We do a lot of calls down the beach area. Yes.
Okay. All right. So you Lieutenant Swenson arrived in the fire truck to that address. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And what did you do when you got there, sir?
I was riding the rear, which is usually the tech guy, which we call it. I grabbed my first in bag, and I went down the walkway toward where the police officer was.
Okay. And so as the first in guy or the tech guy, what does that mean?
We're usually the ones that make patient contact first, or to the family. We'll ask what was going on, we'll talk to the family, ask what was going on, and then talk to the patient.
Just to sort of divide up the roles?
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So you go into the apartment, into that floor of the home, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and when you entered, what did you see as you entered the apartment, sir?
We walked in, there was a lot of boxes and stuff around in the apartment. The female met me at the door, and then I could hear the gentleman moaning. So she walked me into the bedroom where he was. He was sitting on the floor in the bedroom.
Okay. Did you recognize either the woman who answered the door or the man who was on the floor at that time?
No, I've never met them before.
Okay. So you see the man on the floor in the bedroom. You later learned his name to be Leroy Fowler, is that correct?
Yes. All right. Yes.
And so what were your initial, aside from the moaning you said you could hear from the other room, what were your initial observations of Mr. Fowler when you first saw him?
He was, like I said, he was sitting on the floor in the bedroom. He was just kind of like reaching out. He just had his arms out, and he was moaning.
Okay. Did you make contact with him?
Yes.
All right. What was the result of that sort of first contact you made with Mr. Fowler?
I didn't get anything back from him. I believe I called his name, and I asked him what was going on. He was unable to answer me.
Okay. Did he continue to moan?
Yeah, he continued to moan and just reach out.
So fair to say he was conscious.
Yes.
Okay. What would you describe his alertness? How would you describe that?
He wasn't very alert. He was conscious. He was breathing fine, but he wasn't very alert. He was, like I said, he was just reaching out and just moaning.
Okay. Now, did you provide any aid to him while you were in the apartment?
We attempted to get vital signs from him, but it was extremely difficult because he was, like I said, he was moving around, kept on moving his arms.
Just couldn't hold still?
Couldn't hold still, so I kept on asking questions, like asking questions to him, see if he would answer me, and asking questions to the female about any history he had, any medications he'd take.
Okay. Was he ever able to answer any of those questions that you asked him about, any medical conditions or questions he asked him?
Not at all.
Based on what you were seeing, because you couldn't get vitals and he wasn't able to give you any information, based on what you were seeing at that point in time, were you able to tell what was wrong with him?
I was not, no.
So based on, again, what you're seeing and what you're hearing from him, was that the type of moaning or the breathing that was that at all significant to you or concerning?
No, his breathing was fine. His pulse was fine. He had a really strong pulse. It was just he was unable to answer me.
So based on that, what you were seeing, what you were hearing, what do you guys decide to do at that point?
He definitely need to be transported to the hospital as soon as possible for higher care.
Yeah. Okay. More care than basic EMT can provide.
Yes.
Yep. Did you see any signs of on Mr. Fowler, any evidence, breath or anything else that he'd been drinking alcohol or something like that?
I didn't smell anything. I got down pretty close to him. When I was trying to talk to him, I didn't smell anything.
You were kind of holding him up at that point?
I was kind of holding him up and trying to keep his arms from flailing around.
Was that to keep you from getting hurt, keep him from getting hurt?
Both. Yes.
One of the terms that you used earlier was, I don't want to get it wrong, was you were giving a description of his alertness level. What was the word you used? Was it somewhat, or what was the word you used?
We do when we do our report, it's conscious and alert and oriented. Is what we use our report. It's like CAO, and we do either ×4, which is a normal person who's talking. ×3 is a little confused. Times 2 is very confused. So he was very confused. I'd probably say probably a times 2. A times 1 is almost unresponsive.
So he was conscious but not responsive to your question?
Yes, that's correct.
By conscious, obviously, you mean he's breathing.
He's breathing. Yeah, he's breathing. He had a good heart rate.
That's sort of the base, sort of the bottom level, I guess.
Yes.
And then once you said he wasn't able to answer any of your questions in the bedroom, correct?
None.
All right. So you and some of the other individuals that were there providing assistance, you put him in a special kind of chair for transport out of the apartment?
Yes, we call it a stair chair. It's we sit them in it. They're secured to the chair with seat belts to carry them out of the residence.
And called a stair chair?
Stair chair.
Going up and down the stairs?
Yes.
So from the time you put him in the chair, you then sort of take him downstairs and wheel him over to the ambulance, is that correct?
Yes.
The ambulance is not operated by the fire department?
No, it's a private service.
So from when you all help him out of the apartment to the ambulance, during that time at all, was he able to say anything to you regarding his condition?
I don't believe so.
Thank you. Nothing further.
You're welcome. Mr. Norquist?
Sir, you've been continually employed by the fire department since November of 2022, correct?
Yes, sir.
And on an average yearly basis, how many calls such as this would you respond to? Medical calls.
Medical calls? I'd say probably 1,000 to 1,500 a year.
And so from 2022 to now, you've had somewhere around another 5,000 calls, right?
Yes, sir.
And it's fair to say there was nothing significantly unusual about this call, correct? Let me strike that clear. Did you have an opportunity to look at the video before you came in to testify today?
I did, sir. I was shown that.
And in the context of that video, is it fair to say that there was nothing significantly unusual when you arrived? Meaning, his arm wasn't hanging off, you didn't need to do immediate medical attention to it.
No, nothing that I saw that needed immediate attention.
And in relation then to what was done for him at that point in time, you were part of the group that was there. My understanding now is that only one of that group of firefighters writes a report afterwards called a pre-hospital care report, correct?
That's correct, sir. It's usually the tech who takes care of the patient who has initial contact. That would be me.
Okay. And did you have an opportunity to look at that before you came in here today to refresh your memory?
I did not, sir.
And if I showed you a document, would you be able to tell me that's the report that you in fact did?
Sure.
May I quote?
Yes, you may.
Ask you to just take a moment and look at that cover sheet, sir. Is that the document that you prepared in relation to the response you did for Mr. Fowler?
Yes, it is, sir.
And how quickly after the event is that done?
It's usually done right after the call when we get back to quarters.
And the words that are contained within the narrative would have reflected your memory of what had occurred, right?
Yes, sir.
And is it fair to say that you said he was conscious and somewhat alert? Line 4 in the narrative.
Yes. Conscious and somewhat alert. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot my reading glasses.
I'm sorry. So it does say you wrote down conscious and somewhat alert when you arrived.
Yes. Yes, that's correct.
I don't have any further questions.
Any redirect, Mr. Oh, you can collect that first. Any redirect, Mr. Committee? step down, Lieutenant. Amelia?
Jonathan Lemke.
Stand on that blue line.
Sir, if you face me and raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now in hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. You may be seated.
Good afternoon, sir. Could you please introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name?
My name is Jonathan Lemke, Lemke.
And sir, how old are you?
24.
And what do you do for work, sir?
I'm an EMT.
All right. How long have you been an EMT?
Coming up on 5 years.
And what is your level of EMT certification?
EMT basic.
Okay. So you were what, 19 or so when you went through EMT training?
Just about, yes.
All right. You've actually heard from a couple of other witnesses who are also EMTs, but just real quickly, can you tell us a little bit about what kind of training you get to become a basic EMT?
For me, it was a little bit different than the regular. I went through an accelerated course in Massachusetts during COVID to kind of expedite providers in the field, but it's a lot of classroom and practical skill training.
Okay, and the goal being to be able to allow you to provide first responder medical treatment and attention to people who are in need?
Yes, sir.
So after you got your EMT certification, where'd you go to work?
With Cataldo Ambulance.
Okay. And I see Cataldo Ambulance is all over the place. So is that a pretty big ambulance company?
Yes, sir.
And you know where were you stationed for Cataldo?
Funny enough, right here in Salem.
Right here in Salem. All right. And is Cataldo also associated with Atlantic? Is that the same company?
Yes. It is a northern division of Cataldo.
Okay. And so usually, what was your normal shift like when you were working for Cataldo?
When I was in Salem, I was a 911 ambulance on a EMT basic truck. When I was operating in Newburyport, I was a 911 and interfacility ambulance.
So what was the second part of that?
Interfacility. So hospital to hospital, hospital nursing home, non-emergent transport.
I get it. All right. So in addition to working in the Salem area, you also worked in the Newburyport area?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did Newburyport encompass Salisbury?
Yes, sir. We responded to Salisbury.
Okay. All right. Now, sir, I want to take you back to November 11th of 2022. Were you working for Cataldo at that point in time?
Yes, sir.
All right. And were you working in Salem or in Newburyport at that point in time?
Newburyport.
Okay. And that morning, a little bit after 8 o'clock, did you respond to 108 Central Ave in Salisbury for a call for assistance?
Yes, sir.
And so when you arrived on scene, were there other emergency or police personnel already there when you arrived?
Yes, sir. We had police and fire.
Okay. So when you arrived on scene, what did you do, sir?
I stepped out of the ambulance and spoke with the police and fire department on scene. I believe there was also a female who was the caller who I spoke with, and then I went inside to see the patient.
All right. So when you arrive on scene and firefighters are already providing some assistance to a patient, do you take over or do they keep doing it? How's that work?
We take over.
Okay. So you take over when you walk in, and so what did you notice about the patient when you walked in and first started assessing him?
From what I recall, he was sick, lethargic, confused, either sitting on the bed or next to his bed.
Did you talk to him?
Yes, sir.
What were you asking? What were you saying?
I was asking what was going on, how he was feeling, if he knew where he was, what was going on with him, and I asked about any drug use.
Was he able to answer you at that point in time?
He was struggling. He was definitely confused to time and place, but with prodding and questioning, yes.
Okay. And so what part of the question was he able to, what part or all of your question was he able to answer?
He was able to describe how he was feeling. He was able to identify himself, and he was able to confirm that he had used Percocets.
Okay. And where was this conversation in the house or was this conversation that was outside?
It began in the house and then transitioned into the ambulance.
Okay. And do you remember if this was mostly in the ambulance or mostly in the house, this conversation? You said transition. How long were you in the house for this?
Very briefly, we tried to check him out, make sure he was okay, and then get him out.
This witness has it all wrong.
So we say very briefly, talk about minutes?
Yes.
And so, how long, so you put him in the ambulance, so you said he was able to talk to you about some issues, is that right?
Yes, sir.
What did he say?
He stated to me that he took 2 Perc-10s the night before the incident.
What's a Perc-10?
It is a type of Percocet.
10 milligram pill of Percocet?
I believe so, yes.
All right, and was he able to give you any other information?
Not much outside of how he was feeling. And
what did he say about how he was feeling?
He himself acknowledged that he was confused, he didn't know what was going on, and that he was feeling sick. So you put him in, you would assist from the fire department, he goes into the ambulance, is that right? Yes, sir.
And where does he go from 108, where does he go to?
We transported to the NHX hospital.
And how long, I know it's a little bit inexact, but about how long from 108 Central Street, Salisbury to NHX?
It's been some time, but I would say between 15 and 30 minutes.
This witness has a complete different memory.
Did his demeanor or his presentation change during the course of the ambulance ride?
Not that I recall.
Was he still moaning the way he had been when he walked into the apartment?
Yes, sir.
Were the arms still flailing around a little bit, or was he kind of restrained within the chair?
Once he was in the ambulance on the stretcher, he had seatbelts on, so there wasn't much room for him to be able to flail.
Okay. Based on what you were seeing, could you tell what was wrong with him?
I didn't have an exact diagnosis. That's not actually within our job to do, but I had an impression of substance abuse, but not one of substance overdose.
Okay. So the riding to the hospital, is that just you and your ambulance crew? That it's all no crew, no fire, no police?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. No further questions.
Mr. Hawkins?
Thank you. So, Lincoln, these were being asked here to recall events of November 2022, correct?
Yes, sir.
It'd be fair to say that your memory would have been better back in, say, early 2023 of those events than it would be here today, 4 years later?
Yes, sir.
And at any point in time, did you have a chance to go in and do an interview with the police officer?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did that, in fact, interview take place in February 6th of 2023?
Yes, sir.
And were you asked somewhat similar questions as Mr. Camillo asked you here about what took place that day?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you arrived on that day, it's fair to say you're trying to make a determination of what the medical needs are of that person, right?
Yes, sir.
And when you don't see something exterior to the person, such as blood or cut or redness indicating what the cause may be or the injury may be, you ask them what's wrong, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you ask them to tell you, can you help us? Did you take something? What's wrong, right?
Yes, sir.
And in response to that, in this particular case, Mr. Fowler was able to give you a verbal response, right?
Yes, sir.
And you said, I think, that he actually did that twice, once in the house and once in the ambulance?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you were asked back in February of 2023, you recall that you believed at that point in time that you said it was something along the lines of, I took 10 pills, was the response from Mr. Fowler?
Yes, sir, and that was a statement made in error.
I'm sorry, Ben?
That was a statement made in error. I was...
February 2023, as you told us, your memory was much more alert than it would be today of those events 4 years ago. That statement was wrong.
Yes, sir. Prior to that interview, I had spoken with my previous employer to gain access to my report for that patient. My previous employer refused, but instead verbally read it aloud, and when he read it, he told me 10 Percocets instead of the 2 Perc-10s.
Okay. And did you have some sort of seance that allowed you to know that that statement was incorrect and the 2 10s were correct?
Objection, Judge. To the form, sustained to the form.
At some point in time, after February 2023, you then came to make some realization that that statement that you made in 2023 was incorrect, right?
Yes, sir.
And did you go back to the police and file a new report?
I did not, sir.
You did not?
No, sir.
So up until testimony here today, that statement of 2023 was your official statement?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. In relation to, let me strike that. When you went into the meeting in February of 2023, were you threatened in any way by the officer that was taking the statement?
No, sir.
Did he treat you harshly?
No, sir.
Did he view you in any way by questions he asked?
No, sir.
And when you gave him your answer at that point in time of, I took 10 perks, is it fair to say that at that point in time was the answer you believe was correct?
Yes, sir.
And you believe that that's the answer you heard twice from Mr. Fowler? In 2023, that was the answer you believe you heard twice from Mr. Fowler?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. At any point in time, did he indicate to you or make a statement to you, somebody tried to poison him?
No, sir.
Did he indicate that it was what he drank that caused his illness?
No, sir.
And when you were talking to him and his statement came out relative to pills, did you believe you were trying to influence him to tell him what pills did you take?
No, sir.
You just kept asking me, what did you take?
Yes, sir.
In that context of his condition that he was able to respond to, he was alert enough to know what the question was and gave you a response to the question, right?
I believe not initially, but after repeated questioning, yes, sir.
Okay. You said, what did you take? He gave you an answer of taking something, which back then you said you thought was 10 pills, now you believe it's 2 per 10, correct?
Yes, sir.
But he was still addressing you and answering your responses to the question.
Yes, sir.
would it be fair to say that you actually answered 3 separate questions? That's right. Did anybody show you a copy of the interview you did back in February of 2023 prior to coming before he was there?
No, sir.
I suggested to you that there were 3 times in that interview that you were asked several questions, and each time you said it was 10 pills. Does that refresh your memory that you answered it 3 times to the officer?
Yes, sir, I did say that.
May I have a moment, Judge?
Yes, you may.
Thank you, sir. I don't have any other questions, sir.
Mr. Camillo, any redirect?
Yes, thank you, Judge. So you were asked if your memory was better in February of 2023 as it is today, and you said it was. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Fair to say that your memory was best on November 11th of 2022?
Yes, sir.
And in connection with your duties and responsibilities for Pickles, do you write a report when you go out for a service call like this?
Yes, sir, every transport.
All right. And do you do that report on the day of service?
Yes, sir.
And did you do a report in this particular case?
Yes, sir.
All right. And may I approach, Judge?
Yes, you may.
Sir, just hand you a 2-page document. Just take a look at it for yourself. And also read to yourself for a second.
This is crazy. How can this witness have such
Do you recognize the document?
different recounting
Yes,
of the
sir.
same event?
And what can you recognize that document to be?
That is my patient run report.
Patient run report? The patient run report that you wrote on November 11th, 2022 after providing some medical assistance to Mr. Fowler?
Yes, sir.
And what did you write? Did you make a note in that report about what Mr. Fowler told you about his Percocet use that day?
Yes, sir.
And what did you write in the report?
I directly wrote, patient states he has taken 2 Percocet 10 pills within the last 12 hours.
Thank you. Another further.
Mr. Norquist, any follow-up?
So, when he actually spoke to you, Mr. Fowler, he not only had a quantity of the pills, he knew the time frame that he took them.
Yes, sir.
And he was alert enough to give that type of response. This quantity within this time period.
I don't recall him being able to give an accurate time outside of the night before the incident.
Well, you were 12 hours, right?
Yes, sir.
You don't want to mislead any other medical personnel in doing it, right?
No, sir.
And if you said sometime during the night, that can be a big difference between 12 hours and sometime during the night, right?
Yes, sir.
You wrote specifically for 12 hours, he gave you a definitive answer, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You may step
Okay, they're done with that witness. He remembers the events very differently than how he watched them play out on the body cam. He says that the witness was talking, told him he was taking 2 Percocet 10s. Then
You're on a call calls Tammy Carbone.
Tammy Carbone.
Mr. Stelly will be doing this witness, just so the court knows.
Thank you.
Right this way, please. Just make your way up to his office. Just do me a favor and just stand on this blue line right here, okay?
Cameron, please face me and raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now in hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. You may be seated.
All right. Good afternoon, man. You have a nice loud voice. Just make sure you keep your voice up the whole time. Can you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name?
Tammy Carbone, C-A-R-B-O-N-E.
Hey, man, where do you live?
I live in Salisbury, Massachusetts.
How long have you lived in Salisbury?
I have lived there for 30 years.
And What was your relationship to Leroy Fowler II, or Leroy Fowler Jr., as he sometimes referred to?
I'm his sister.
And older sister, younger sister?
I'm his older sister.
And were you and Mr. Fowler, when your brother, close?
Yes.
He also lived in Salisbury for a lot of his life, is that right?
Yes.
And did you guys spend time together?
Yes.
What did you guys do? What did you guys do for fun together?
A lot of times we like to go yard sailing, and I would go down the beach sometimes where he lived.
Okay. And would you guys go down, walk with it? Would you guys actually walk down to the beach area and sit on the beach, or?
Yeah, we'd go down there, and then sometimes we'd go down the beach and go down and get pizza and stuff.
Okay. How often would you see your brother?
Sometimes I'd see him like every week, and I'd see him a couple times a week, and then on the weekends, when it was yard sale time, we'd see each other probably every weekend.
Anything in particular that you would sort of look for when we go to these yard sales?
No, we just like to go. We always enjoyed yard sailing together.
I've never heard that term before, yard sailing. It's
yeah, we really enjoyed it.
Okay.
You gotta try it, it's fun.
And so, would he come by and pick you up, or would you meet him there? Or,
sometimes I'd pick him up, sometimes he'd pick me up, and sometimes we'd meet somewhere and we'd go together, and we just really always enjoyed it. It was a thing we all did. The whole family always did it when we were younger, and we enjoyed it a lot.
All right. Fair enough. Now, did you know Mr. Fowler's girlfriend, Miss Church?
Yes, I did.
How long have you known Judy Church?
I have known her since he started going out with her.
Okay. Did you see her here in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Just point her out and describe something she's wearing.
She's right there with, I believe it looks like a blue jacket, black jacket.
Just ask that the record reflect identification, Your Honor.
Submit.
Thank you. And so, about when did your brother, Mr. Fowler, and Miss Church start their relationship? Do you remember?
I believe it may have been it was either like 13 or 14 years ago.
Okay. So around 2012-ish, in that range?
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you first meet her? Just through your brother?
Yes.
Okay. And did you, so when you would socialize with Leroy, did you also socialize with Miss Church?
Yes, I did.
And was she part of the yard sailing crew?
Yeah.
All right. And did you and Miss Church have a independent relationship of Leroy?
Yeah. I mean, I would go down there and visit with her, or she would go with us on yard sailing, and she joined in.
All right. Did you and Miss Church sometimes talk on the phone together?
Yes, we did.
Sometimes text back and forth?
Yeah.
Did you also know Leroy's other girlfriend, for lack of a better way to put it?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and what was her name? What was her name?
Her name is Barbara.
Okay. Barbara Randall?
Yes.
And you also sometimes, see Barbara and socialize with her when you were seeing your brother?
Yes, when he was with her, if he stopped by or if he called me, she even joined in the yard sale if. So,
a little awkward sometimes?
Yes, it was.
All right. But sort of something you just accepted about your brother?
Yeah.
He took both of his girlfriends at the same time. Is that what I heard?
Hand you a photograph and ask if you recognize the individual in that photograph.
Yes, this is my brother.
Is that a fair picture of what he looked like? In the years before he died.
Yep.
All right. I don't know if this is the next exhibit. No.
May come in as the next exhibit.
Exhibit 3, sir.
All right, so that's a picture of Leroy, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and the good-looking puppy that's sitting on his lap, who's that?
That's Saul.
Salt?
Yep.
Okay. All right, and do you know where the picture was taken?
That is at their house at Salisbury Beach.
Okay, so 108 Central Ave?
108 Central Ave, yep.
Okay, all right, great, thank you. And so
You're welcome.
You're familiar with 108 Central Ave, the home there?
Yes.
Okay. Did you sometimes visit Leroy at the house?
Yes.
Okay, and how often would you go over to the house and do things there in the home?
I have been there many a times.
Okay. In the months before his death, were you there frequently?
No. I hadn't been there in quite a while before that.
Would you still go to the house and see your brother outside of the house?
Yeah, for a while there I hadn't been in the house. I would go there sometimes and he would come outside and talk to me. Or I'd pick him up there if we were going anywhere.
Did you make any observations about the inside of the house as I sort of in the months leading up to his death that you noticed as you weren't going in as much?
No, there really wasn't much going on. Like outside, there was a lot of stuff outside and stuff, but I hadn't been in quite a while.
Okay. Now, I want to take you back to November of 2022, in those last couple of days before Leroy died.
Yep.
Do you remember when the last time you saw him was before his death?
Yes, the last time I saw him was the week of November 4th on the top of my street on Brooks Road in Salisbury. I was sitting up there to pick up my grandkids off the bus, and him and Judy Church pulled up, and he spoke to me, and that was the last day I saw him.
How do you look?
He looked fine. They stopped there and talked to me a few minutes, and then they went on their way.
You didn't notice any problems with him, nothing?
No, he talked to me to make sure I had a ride into Boston with my husband, and told me if I didn't, the following week, to let him know. And they were fine. They were getting lunch, and I talked to him a couple of days after that, and I didn't hear from him at all after that.
All right. So you said you talked to him a couple of days, so that was what you said about November 4th or so?
Yep.
Okay.
Carson, we'll get you a link for it.
You spoke to him a couple of days after that.
Yes.
Was that on the phone?
Yes.
Okay, and when you spoke to him on the phone, did he sound like he was doing okay? He was able to talk to you? No problems communicating with you?
Yep.
Okay. Now, November 11th, was that a special day?
Yes, November 11th is his birthday, and I tried to text him that morning, and he never texted back.
Okay. When was the first time that you learned something was maybe wrong with Leroy?
Around 6:30 that night, I got a phone call from Judy Church, and she told me that she had been at the hospital all day with my brother.
Okay. And did she tell you what was wrong with him?
She told me that she took him to the hospital, and she had sat at the hospital all day with him, and that they took him to I can't remember the name of the hospital.
Do you remember the first one she said that he went to?
Anna Jake's hospital.
Okay, and then did she then tell you that he was getting transferred to another hospital?
Yes, she told me that she had him, she gave him okay to put him on a ventilator because he had something wrong with his pH, and she went on to tell me this whole story.
Carson, there's a link for you for the trial for your friend. We're not going to follow it anymore. It's just too hard to follow.
She told me that the day before he was having trouble thrashing around at the house, and he was banging up against the house. They were getting ready to move furniture out and everything, and he was going on and banging around the house, and had knocked over all kinds of furniture and curtains and banging around, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And she said, I don't know what was going on with him. He just couldn't stand up, but you know how he is. He thinks he's 20 and thinks he can bang around and pick everything up, and I don't really know what was going on with him. And she said, and then he said to me, well, he said if I didn't know any better.
Don't just because of the way the rules are, you can't tell us what Mr. Fowler said, just some of the things that Ms. Church said, okay?
Oh, okay.
All right.
And then
let me stop you there for a second.
Okay.
So she was telling you about some of the events that had happened on November 10th, the day before.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. She had, and she said, so why? She said, so he was just banging around, falling down, and knocked over all her curtains and knocked over all her paperwork, tax papers and stuff. So I said to her, why are you here with him? Why'd you stay there all day with him? I said, that's not normal. Usually you would call me. I said, and you didn't call me.
Okay, so let me stop you there. So you said she called you around 6 or 6:30 that evening?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said usually she would call you. So Mr. Leroy he had a pacemaker?
Yes, he had a pacemaker.
He had some other health issues?
Yeah. So whenever he went to the hospital, if Barbara or Judy took him to the hospital, they would call me. I was always the first one they would call if he was there. And I asked her why she didn't call me. I said, you stayed there for like 12 hours and you didn't call me, and you gave them an okay to put him on a ventilator and all that, and you didn't call me? And she's like, oh, well, and that's when she started giving me the whole story, that everything went on and what was going on. And then she started telling me that his pH was off, and all this stuff about his blood, and she just went on and on about this whole story.
Okay. So during the phone, do you remember how many phone conversations you had with her that night? Was it just the one that you're talking about?
Then she hung up, and then she said, I have to get home because I have to take care of the dogs and pick up all the paperwork and put my curtains all back up that fell down. And so she went on with all that, and then that was the end of that.
Right, so let's go back to that phone call for a second. All right. Now, during the phone call with the conversation with Ms. Church, did she say something to you that?
To leading, what's the objection? Leading. It may be necessary to frame the question, but Mr. Camillo, think about that as you frame it.
Thank you. Did she say something to you that was concerning?
Yes. Sorry.
That's okay. So what did she say to you that concerned you during that phone conversation?
She had said that Leroy had said something to her about.
Nested hearsay.
Counsel at sidebar if I need to on this.
Whoa. Whoa, that's terrible. Oh my goodness. They literally turn on the white noise machine. It's just static.
Couldn't possibly understand the basis for many of the rulings that we make for this trial. But certain basic things I'd like you to understand. For example, you heard an objection because the question was leading. So one thing you should understand is that the party that calls the lawyer that calls the is not permitted to ask what we call leading questions. The leading question is a question basically contains information.
The judge.
Either agree or disagree.
Oh my
goodness. Isn't it true such and such? Yes or no? A non-leading question is an open-ended one. What happened next? So on direct examination and redirect examination, the lawyer who called the witness has to ask non-leading questions. On cross-examination,
He's explaining to the jurors what leading questions and non-leading questions are and what they're allowed to do and what they're not.
So that's why you'll hear some rulings along those lines. At some point, I'll try to explain a little bit of some of the basic hearsay rules because they may seem arbitrary to you. But one of the basic rules is that generally statements that people make out of court are not admissible, but one of the basic exceptions is that the Commonwealth can typically permit statements of the criminal defendant as an exception to our hearsay rules. So you may hear people putting in statements of things that this church allegedly said to them, whereas you may hear an objection and be sustaining it to putting in statements that somebody else would have. And by the way, whenever I refer during the course of this trial to anything we've heard, such as somebody attributing a statement to this church, it's always entirely up to you whether and to what extent you credit such testimony. When I reference testimony, I'm never making any suggestion to you whether and to what extent you should credit it. That's up to you. Now, I'm going to talk to the lawyers, and if you do wish to stand up, you may do so.
Okay, we're going to turn this way down. Just think of it like a waterfall. Like someone's left the faucet running and is carefully just running down a rock garden wall, soaking into the soil, ruining the subsoil, and sinking the garden wall into the yard. The judge, first of all, we've got to figure out something better for this sidebar stuff. The judge pauses and gives a lecture to the jury about the law and what he's doing and what the objection might mean and what the objection might be and what that rule is. And he's like, I'm going to get into it later with you. Take some notes because there's a test at the end. He's going to lightly cover some of the rules of hearsay. Okay, one of the hardest sections of practicing law is understanding the rules of hearsay. He's going to go over that briefly with us, so do take notes on that front. This is an interesting trial. We've got the previous witness, the medic, the youngest guy, who's only been working for about 5 years, since he was 19, remembers everything very differently than the body cam we watched. We watched body cam that showed before anyone made entry into the house, all the way through when they took the patient out on a chair. He seems to think that they had a conversation, and the patient in that video was communicative, was sharing information. Oh, I took 2 of these pills in the last 12 hours, and here's how I'm feeling. I don't feel good. It really hurts. He seems to think that happened. It was not in the video. Not at all. Probably mixed up his calls a little bit, and probably didn't write his report the same day as well. But you got to give him credit because he's not paying attention to the trial and watching outside of court, or else he would have known that his story completely didn't match the body cam video that he was featured on. Like the judge, you got a little bit of Judge Schroeder in him with the explanation to the jury. He seems to be interested. Oh, it's a hot mic. It's just additive noise. They're not actually turning down their mics. Hang on. They're just mumbling off to the side of the room. I thought they switched us over to just like pink noise or something. You just needed to talk softly like you just did over it, and it makes it somewhat better. Just imagine you're sitting at school outside the principal's office, and somebody's in trouble in there, and they've got the white noise going outside, so you don't hear what they're getting in trouble for. I don't know, where else do you find white noise? Is it like, is it outside confessional? Did it have white noise outside the confessional booth so you can't hear what goes on inside? We need a sample. Who uses white noise? Raise your hand. If you have a white noise machine, possibly just to sleep, I guess. Some people do that. Red Pen says yes. Sister uses it on her phone to sleep. White noise, pink noise, brown noise. Yes, brown noises are no. Therapist's office. Okay, there you go. Psychiatrist, therapist, where you need a little bit of privacy. Nursery for the baby. Got a med app with pink noise. I love listening to something while I sleep, and so I'll find a YouTube video, usually a live stream, that just runs all night, like somebody who's going to stream all night long, and it's usually a gamer, honestly. And I'll turn it down so it's just barely, I can barely hear it, and I'll wear earbuds because Mrs. R.A. does not want to hear it all night long. But I sleep better with just noise going on, and I'll be out within like 2 minutes. I'll be out cold, won't remember any of it, but I sleep well that way. Then I wake up with the earbud cables wrapped all around my neck like 6 times, and we're tossing and turning, so I guess it's not safe, but... Two-hour video game essays for me, one I've seen 100 times already, so it pays zero attention. What happened to the trial from yesterday? We posted a link in chat. We're not continuing that trial from yesterday. It's just too difficult to follow. There's just... everything's happening off screen. It was just a pace that, honestly, watching the viewer numbers, it just dropped down to probably the lowest we've had in about a month and a half. It looked like nobody was interested in it. I know there are a couple of you who are very interested in it. I'm sorry for that. We posted the link to that judge's page where you can just watch the trial yourself if you really want to follow it. And we're just moving on to another one.
Remember in the beginning when we started 110 years ago?
Some of you guys listen to some fun stuff when you're sleeping. Listen to Law and Order reruns. I don't have a TV. Like, there's no TVs in bedrooms, or the only TV in my house is the one that's literally right there. That's it. Those are the only TVs, the ones you see on screen. And none of them are connected to any sort of cable or even the internet. At least directly.
Don't miss the forest from the trees.
So we don't watch TV to go to sleep. Akamoko Cross. This is a great idea. I'm actually looking at something like this because I have a brilliant idea. This is like a nerd moment again. You can get something called a directional speaker, which is ultrasonic. It's usually an array of ultrasonic speakers arranged together, and they shoot sound almost like a laser shoots light. So you can pinpoint where you want the sound to go, and if you're in that little target area, you can hear it perfectly, and if you're outside, you can't hear it at all. And I know this goes against everything we know about sound, but it works, and they use it in museums, which is where I first saw it displayed. When you walk up to a museum to see the exhibit, and you push the button, and you can hear like all the sounds, and you step away, and the sound's gone. But you step back, and you can hear it again. That's it. There's some of those devices are on YouTube, but I'm waiting for the price to be right before I can buy one. Then I could like mount it on the ceiling, and it would like just point at my pillow, and I'd be like, it would be great. It would be amazing. Tech Ingredients built one of those. I think maybe Mark Rober did as well. Some of the science guys did. It's a really cool piece of tech. This is a murder trial, Virginia. This is a trial where the defendant, Judy, is accused of giving her live-in boyfriend a drink with antifreeze in it, possibly 3 drinks, as the defense says. It would have taken 3 drinks for him to get that level of antifreeze in his system. A very, very painful way to go. Not fun at all. She videoed him for half an hour, quite calmly, before she decided to call 911. Oh, here we go.
All right. Sorry for that. So let me just going to rephrase that question. Say it again so we can all remember what it was. So you had said that there was something that Ms. Church told you that night on Friday that was concerning to you in that phone conversation, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
And what was it that she said to you?
She had said that Leroy had made a comment to her about, well, maybe he thought that she may have put something in his shake that she had made him.
Okay. And
poisoned him with stuff in his shake.
Okay. And at the time you first heard that, were you, what did you think?
It was kind of, it was like...
Sustained.
Sorry.
What did the witness think that sustained? And let me just stop you for a moment, Mr. Camilio.
Sure.
You just heard a statement that this witness made that she attributed to the defendant, Ms. Church, and within that statement is another statement that, according to this witness, Ms. Church attributed to Mr. Fowler, the decedent. Again, it's entirely up to you to credit to what extent, if any, you believe such a statement was made by Ms. Church.
I'm sorry.
But to whatever extent that you do, I want to emphasize something to you. That testimony regarding what Mr. Fowler purportedly said to Ms. Church is only admitted for a limited purpose. It bears on Ms. Church's state of mind at the time she was having this conversation with the witness, Ms. Carbone, and it also, the statement attributed to Mr. Fowler may be considered by you only as it may bear on Mr. Fowler's state of mind at the period of time preceding his death. What you may not consider that statement attributed to Mr. Fowler for, however, is what we refer to as the truth of any facts asserted in that statement. In other words, the statement by Mr. Fowler, apparently or purportedly to Ms. Church, of some belief that he may have had about whether Ms. Church put anything in his milkshakes, that's not admissible as proof that Ms. Church put anything in his milkshakes. It's fundamentally important that you understand that. That is not proof at all, and it would be unfair for you to consider that statement for that purpose. Again, what you've just heard, if you credit it, goes to Ms. Church's state of mind, you go to Mr. Fowler's state of mind, and that's it. Do any counsel need to hear me in light of that instruction? And I'm going to give you, I'm going to give you a more fulsome or more complete instruction, what we call a limiting instruction, a little bit later on in the trial. You may hear some other statement that may be similar in kind, and at that point I'm going to give you another instruction that may be even more complete than that. Go ahead, Mr. Camilio.
Thank you.
That's the fifth class.
So after your
Judges
phone
held.
conversation with Ms. Church, did you continue to communicate with her via text that night?
Yes.
Okay. And there was a number of texts back and forth that evening, is that correct?
Yes.
And then I'm going to show you 3 text messages, which are an excerpt from the text message conversation that you had with Ms. Church that night. I just ask you to read it to yourself and then just kind of look up at me when you've had a chance to read those 3 text messages. Okay, and do you remember the text message conversation that is recorded on these 2 pieces of paper?
Yes.
Okay, and is that, to the best of your memory, a fair and accurate representation of the text message conversation you had with Ms. Church that evening?
Yes.
Your Honor, office is the next exhibit.
Mr. Scully?
No objection, Your Honor.
Next exhibit.
All right. Sorry. And this text message exchange between you and Ms. Church consisted of 3 texts, this excerpt, correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, in the first one at 8:10 p.m., Ms. Church wrote to you, visiting is from 1 to 8, one person at a time, just to let you know, exclamation point. I'll leave to be there at 1 and leave before I'm driving in the dark. You replied, okay, thanks, hope he'll be awake tomorrow. And then Ms. Church wrote to you, me too, exclamation point, think I'll bring him a coffee frap, LOL, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And did you understand that third text message? What did you understand that to be in reference to?
To bring him a coffee shake?
A coffee frap, yeah.
Yeah.
What did you understand that to be in reference to?
That she was going to bring him a coffee shake, maybe.
Did you understand? But what did you understand it to? What did you understand it to be referring back to anything?
Yes, the same conversation she had told me that.
The conversation you had earlier on the phone.
Yeah.
All right. Now, when did you actually get the chance to go to the hospital and see Leroy?
I never made it up there until they were.
You didn't make it to Anna Jake's, right?
No, I never made it to Anna Jake's because she told me they were moving him to, before she even let anybody know he was there. When she called me, they were already moving him in transport to bring him to Mount Auburn. That's where they took him.
Auburn and Cambridge?
Yeah, before she even called me. She sat there and didn't notify anybody. None of the family. Sorry.
That's okay. Not your fault. I thought she was pretty too. Joseph, this might be a good spot to take. We're going to take the lunch break. This is a good spot to answer questions.
I think we will take the lunch break.
Thank you.
We're going to break for an hour. Jurors will reconvene at 2 o'clock.
All right.
All right, as they go to lunch, we're going to also take a lunch break. Our ears can use the break. We do miss the Corey Richens trial and the incredible and amazing audio that came with it. That was a great courtroom. We don't get many of those. Let me go ahead and update the counter here. Thank you for keeping me honest. I've missed just a few of these. We were at 81 on the cough counter. Thank you, Lynn, for keeping me honest there. We have an hour for lunch. Let me do this.
We'll be in recess for an hour.
All right, we're going to turn that down just for a bit and catch up the last little bit, which was only a few minutes. We've got a short lunch. I'm sorry. It's a short lunch. We're going to be back at about 2 o'clock. So you got 30, 40 minutes. This audio is horrible. It is. Some other ones, we looked at some other options. The dentist one, that was also awful, and the camera's crooked, and it's a eye in the sky, stuck up in the ceiling, watching the whole courtroom like you're a bird in the rafters. We're struggling. There's some great trials out there, but none of them are perfect like the Corey Richens trial was, audio and video-wise. All right, give me just a second to correct our when we return one. Here we go. We're going to do a portal. We're coming back at, let's do 2. Where is it? There we go. All right. Portal is ready. Hopefully lunch is ready. I have to admit, I ate some already. My daughter brought me some food she cooked. She was even wearing my chef's hat from when we did the cooking show on the live stream. Will the judge describe what a lunch break is? I think he's doing that right now to the jury.
Remember in the beginning when we started 110 years ago?
That was good. All right, tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better. Please stay safe. Do we go live again at 40 minutes. 40 minutes. That's all you get. We can't get a happy medium between Judge Bev and this. We're back in Massachusetts. It's funny because the layout of the courtroom's the same. We're watching court from the opposite side as we did in the Karen Reed trial. Different courtroom, different courthouse altogether. But hearing some of the same accents, I don't know, we might see some of the same witnesses. I don't know if the state police were involved at all or some of the medical side. Might be interesting if we get somebody shows up here that we've seen before. All right, we have a portal set up. Everyone grab the hand of the portal buddy and you'll make the jump without a problem. We are so close to 1,000 likes. Thanks to all those who did click the like button. It's free and it does help the channel out a ton. We need about 153 more to get to 1,000 on the day, but it's all right. We'll take what we can get. Have a good lunch, guys. We'll see you in about half an hour, a little over half an hour. Bye-bye.